These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics podcast. Sam and I are recording Saturday, June 22nd, ahead of the NBA draft, after the Celtics parade, in the middle of everything. Season's over, but no rest for the wicked, I suppose. Lots of stuff going on. Like I mentioned, the draft. When's the draft? Thursday? I know it's the 26th.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. Thursday and Friday, so right next week. And then free agency's like the 1st. So then we get like a pseudo week off before free agency. And then the draft will be in the middle of it all. But speaking of the draft, we are going to be joined by Tyler Rucker of No Ceilings. He's going to tell us about some of the prospects the Celtic could take. He's going to help us look at some of the emails you guys have sent us about the draft because, frankly, we don't know shit. And then, give us some insight on maybe the top of the draft too. We'll see where it goes. But anything before we throw it over to him, Sam? I took over the first minute, but all right, let's throw it over to that interview now. All right, it is my pleasure to welcome friend of the show, Tyler Rucker of No Ceilings, resident draft expert, Celtics guy, all around perfect guy for this time of year. Tyler, how you doing? Appreciate you for being here.
I was so excited to be back on this one with you guys. I'm doing fantastic. Draft season's a little crazy right now, but Celtics time. I mean, boys, we did it. Banner 18. That's all I care about. I didn't even want to come on here to talk draft. I just want to be like, can we talk basketball about the Celtics and the fact that we got another banner going up? No, I'm kidding. It feels good. How are you guys feeling?
I wanted to lead with that, though. Great. You can't complain.
How difficult was it to do draft research as you're sweating out watching? I mean, I guess you didn't really have to sweat this playoffs, but they still gave me a heart attack in game 3. They did everything they could to lose, and then they lose the game 4 where everyone's like, hey, what if the Mavs come back?
Everyone was, constantly like, oh, are you feeling good? Feeling good? I was like, I've never felt good with this Celtics team. I haven't felt good with the Celtics team since like the KG Celtics. And I was like, I was nervous every game. Like even when they're up in the series, I was just like, oh gosh, like we're up 20. And I feel like that lead just doesn't mean anything anymore. Like it's basketball right now. It's like you're up 20, like it's one heater and the game's right back. So especially with the Celtics, I don't know. I was just all like the moment it was the first tip, I was like, draft mode's off. I'm all in on the Celtics. I didn't feel good for most of those games. The finals did not feel like it was 4-1. It felt like it was a 7-game series. What about you guys? Were you just basket cases or
me? Probably more than Jack, because Jack was there. Like I don't know. And plus, Jack does not get as like up and down as I do. He's pretty even keeled when it comes to the games. Like you got the complete opposite ends of the spectrum on the show. You have me wearing a heart monitor, checking my pulse and making sure I'm not dying during a game. Literally before game 5, I hit triple digits. Like I was going berserk.
That's literal. That's not like some metaphor he's making. He literally wore a heart monitor. I don't know. Like just to clarify.
I love that.
Yeah. And so I hit triple digits before the game. Meanwhile, like Jack was like, no, they're okay. And after game 4, I don't think either one of us was very like shook. We were just like, oh, like, yeah, that was a disaster. But none of it really felt like it was sustainable and felt like a big time outlier. And we were right. But worst part of the playoffs was probably game 2 loss to Miami in the first round. It was like, here we go again, losing at home to a bad team. Like, when are they ever going to learn? And it turns out they were okay.
Yeah,
I felt game 2 was right there. Go ahead, Jack. I'm right there with you, Sam. Like just game 2, game 2 against Miami, I was falling apart. I was like, bad. Oh gosh, they're gonna do it again. They're gonna just have this historic year and fall apart and trade everyone.
I would have to like look at our podcast, which I mean, the good thing about doing this after every game is I can go see how we were feeling. Like, how were we feeling? I think I was okay even then. Like. I don't know.
Yes, I remember you being okay, and I was pissed.
As shocker.
I was pissed. Worried. What are you gonna do?
This is true. This team never really worried me. Like I don't know. It just the way they carried themselves. I was just kind of like they just made me feel pretty confident in the fact that they were gonna do it done. Like I said it before the Mavs series. It was like baffling how many people picked the Mavs. After the Celtics won game 1, I doubled down. I went on like first to the floor, which is, I don't know if you know, they're the they're great. They cover the Celtics. They're mostly out in Australia, but they're sick. And I went on their like late night show, and I was like, it is an embarrassment to basketball that people pick the Mavericks in the series. And I was goddamn right. It is horrendous. The Mavs were the 3rd best team the Celtics played in this playoffs, and I stand on that, and I'll die to that. And if Jimmy Butler was healthy, they'd be dead last.
I'm right there with you. It was unbelievable. Like I there's certain shows I can't watch for, leading up to the game and stuff. I just can't stand them. Like I've tried, I can't do it. I got to mute it at halftime. And I didn't even know so many people picked the Mavs. Like until
More
like after
ESPN
game 1.
People pick the Mavs than the Celtics.
I was like, what? I kept seeing, who was it? A bunch of Celtics people were posting it. Then I saw the receipts and I was laughing hysterically. I was like, this many people picked the Mavs? So that's just
conspiracy.
It's just everyone expecting the Celtics to fall apart. That was what they were rooting for.
ESPN pushing Mavs as they push their ESPN bet. Hey, everybody, put all your money on the Mavs, and you'll win like 5-1, or it was like 1.8-1. Go ahead, put all your money on them. They're a good team. Kyrie and Luka are the best backcourt ever. Like, just pushing all of the garbage so people would waste their money. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was unreal. Luka is now. He's probably the scariest person to play against. Like, I don't want to deal with Luka again. Every time he shot something, I was like, Luka's going to score 20 straight. Like, I was just terrified. He's very scary in the first quarter. Yes. Needs
a breather.
I blame Windhorst for that not being a sweep.
Me too.
I think Windhorst, I think that's why they didn't sweep him, is because Windhorst's little rant. So
that's all right. We can all watch him win at home. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. It felt great after everything they've been through. How many heartbreaking losses? I knew it, but listening back to Bill Simmons and stuff when he went through every heartbreak loss, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot there's like 3 or 4 more in there that really hurt. Like, I was like, geez. So they were due. I'm just glad they got over the mountaintop. I'm excited to see if Tatum has the weight off his shoulder, if Jalen keeps this going. Like, I do feel really good about Tatum. I feel like it was telling after the game when he just kind of was like breaking down. That guy's been a 15-year vet in interviews since he entered the league, and he just was falling apart. So I was like, okay, this might be telling.
It was great. It just felt like you said, they were more than due. They needed that. They got it done. If they didn't win this year, everyone would have been all up in arms, but they did it, and it's phenomenal. And it feels great that they finally were able to do it. I have like Twitter open here just because like I'm looking at different stuff, and I have a second monitor. I just see Nick Young in a Celtics jersey wearing Boston Celtics. I'm like, what is happening? He just goes, "We did it." I'm like, "This week?" Hold on, I need to like contextualize what I'm looking at because I'm so confused.
So what happened is him and whoever he's talking with are very happy that a European guy didn't win the title again, so they deemed the Celtics America's team.
He won, baby. America won, baby. Jason.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
They put Luka ass out. Oh my god. I got so tired of everybody talking about these foreigners and shit. America's here, baby. It's America's league, baby. It's a league.
Of course, Arita.
Fist bumping.
Wow.
Bro, the irony of a Kristaps Porzingis trade getting him over the top in that interview is just like, it's all time. Jesus. Oh, man. So, wait, Tyler, how long have you been a Celtics fan? Like, when was the first year you started, like, religiously following Celtics basketball?
Oh, I don't remember when I wasn't a Celtics fan. Like that, my old man grew up in Chicago. His dad was a diehard Sixers fan, and when he was a kid, it was like the Celtics and the Sixers were always on TV, or the Celtics and Lakers, and he just was like, I loved the Celtics. I was obsessed with them, and then it's kind of been like a rule ever since I was like born. It's like you can root for any sports team except in basketball, it's the Celtics. So like I've watched all the Bird games, all of everything. I've just been obsessed my whole life. So people are like, oh, bandwagon. I'm like, no. I've literally been getting Larry Bird stories for bed nights before, everybody else was getting Michael Jordan. It was like, yeah, Bird stealing the ball against the Pistons. Like all my life.
So do you vividly remember 08?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. See,
I
didn't start watching
graduating
until after that. Yeah.
I was graduating high school
Okay.
in 08. So it was a heck of a parting gift. But yeah, it was
pretty good.
You know, you're growing up and you're like, oh, I love Kevin Garnett. You start rooting for like players. Like I was in Northern California, so the Warriors weren't great. And every time like KG and stuff would come through, I'd be like, oh, I got to go see Garnett. You know, I got to go to a game. Vince Carter's in town. So then all of a sudden they put like Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce on the same team. And I'm like, this is like my childhood in one. This is unbelievable. So it just seems so wild that it's the last time they won one was 08. It seems not that long ago and also extremely long ago. Yeah. So it's just crazy.
Wild.
I mean, we talked about like all the heartbreak and stuff. Like that was the first time they lifted a trophy at home since 2010, winning the Eastern Conference Finals on their home floor. Like they've had success, like they've been to the finals and stuff, but like they hadn't won like a big playoff game at the Garden in a very long time. It felt like yes, you can chalk up Sixers game 7, Bucks game 7, but like anything past the second round, past the Embiid territory, they have not won a significant playoff game at home. So it was pretty cool to finally have something I can pull up on my phone in August when I have nothing going for me. And I'm like, okay, yes, this is why we play. This is why we get behind the microphone. This is why we watch all the games right here.
This is why we get behind the microphone is so sick.
That's such a fantastic quote. I love that. I haven't had that feeling with the Celtics in the draft yet, so I'm pretty pumped about that. But it felt good. I hear you, Sam. Like when they won it, I was like, this makes me feel good about watching a whole year of basketball games. You're right. I mean, I've never thought of it that way. They always were taking care of stuff on the road,
which is like
always been the road
like
warriors, which is great. But it's
like a sign of dominance and stuff, except for when you lose a game 7 at home, and you lose game 4 of the finals at home in 2022, and game 6, like just like all these spots that were kind of big spots, they just kept coming up short, and it was like weird. Like was the pressure getting to them, and so on. But yeah, finally did it. Finally gave me the highlights.
Finally. It feels good. Now we can just start, getting drunk about, hey, can they rattle off some more? Can we throw the D word out? That'd be very fun this time. It's gonna be a bar fight next year. Everyone's gonna be coming for them. It's gonna be really fun to see what they got, and I think the West is gonna be nuts. So, I'm pumped for it. I'm really pumped.
Great. In the meantime, Celtics fans get to have the beautiful enjoyment of obsessing over pick 30 in the draft. Until it's pick 50, until it's pick 51. Until
it's a real day this year because they have 2 days. Yeah. So you're gonna stay up. You're gonna watch the entire first round. Then it's gonna be like, hey, guess what? The Celtics aren't picking tonight, so you just wasted your Thursday.
Man, so the last time we talked to you about draft stuff for like ahead of the draft, we talked to you a little earlier, like for March Madness, but draft stuff. I think since then we've doubled in size of the channel, which means that we now have people asking about certain prospects, and we have to be like, I don't know, like we need to ask Tyler. And so we've been like, we have no idea, and so we've saved a bunch of like comments, a bunch of emails, a bunch of stuff like. All with prospects. And so we were hoping that you could explain to us how good some of these people are. Yeah,
of course. Hey, double. You guys we're going to get you up more. We need a triple. You guys are relentless. I love how much I'm always on the timeline while I'm putting stuff together for No Ceilings. And then like I look at something and I'm like, these guys are podcasting again. They're just animals. So you guys are relentless.
And just boxes still work.
Oh God.
I preach. I get that. Just keep grinding and this thing will blossom. I love it. And sometimes I poke it and I'm laughing my butt off at some of your guys' stuff. But yeah, come on, man. This is what I do. Celtics and draft, you can get me to talk about that anytime.
Awesome. We appreciate you. All right. I'm going to change the style of the screen here. So I think you're going to get kicked off for half a second. Just until I edit it. So hold up. He's coming back. All right. I'm going to put you in the middle now.
Narrating? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hold up. No. You're going to, don't worry.
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Now, if you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. The finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. You get boosted playoffs on selected basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. Now, this week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at Jason Tatum, more than 26.5 points. Jaylen Brown, more than 3 threes, which may be aggressive, but I'm running with that. Download that app today and use a code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
All right. I'm going to share a screen, and then I'm going to adjust the overlay to make it look good once the emails are on the screen. But I wanted to get there. So we actually had Michael Hilly, who is like loyal listener of the pod, always chimes in the comments. He DM'd me on Twitter, and he goes, I have a giant list of prospects. Should I save it, or should I send it to you? I said, send it, and we'll save it in the email. And when he said giant list of prospects, I didn't realize he meant an insanely detailed,
Michael,
list.
yes.
And so we're gonna go over this to kick it off, because Michael rocks, and Michael, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. So, first on his list, well, let me read his message first. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. I took a look at the upcoming draft class, and I think it'd be better than most analysts are expecting. Celtics have a couple of picks at 30 and 55. I really only looked at 30. Although they will most likely stick with 55 or trade both, knowing my luck. It's really long. Sorry. Don't apologize. Before we even get into it, he says, could be better than most analysts are expecting. Are you in on this draft class sucks train, Tyler? Is it like, what is your general thought process on the draft? Like, because that's all you hear is this draft class is bad.
Yeah, no, it doesn't suck. It's one of those, it's the classic year of there's no consensus number one guy, so everyone's in panic mode. You know what it is it's really good year for the rich to get richer. Like for teams in the playoffs, it's really, really good to get some more depth, to get some pieces. I think when you get past the top 5, there starts to get like, okay, there's some value that could be presenting itself. And then when you get to that 12 on, there's going to be really nice pieces. I'm pumped about this year for a lot of these teams that are like playoff contenders should be pumped. Where the Celtics are picking, very good spot. It'll be very interesting. But I'm high on this year's class because I do think there's very good depth from teams that I've talked to. They're excited about the depth because this is where you get the rotation pieces, And with the CBA stuff, like this is a big year for a lot of these teams. You could find some value.
Awesome. Hell yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to Michael's email real quick. I'll change the little outline on the screen and put it to the bottom again. So the first guy he brings up is Bobby Klintman of the NBL. 21, 6'10". I'm just reading Michael's stuff here. Long athletic win, good looking form. Better in stats, my success. He says Trey Murphy, but not a great defender. Thoughts on Bobby Klintman? And there's a lot of them, so you don't have to go super in detail if you don't want to, but like go nuts.
No, Klintman's fun. He was at Wake Forest last year, if it sounds familiar. And then there was like some weird process where people thought he had a promise. He ended up not. And then at the very last second, he decided to go to the NBL, and people were like, what the heck's going on? He had a good year. He's lengthy. He could shoot a little bit. He's not the Trey Murphy defender. I think he's just kind of one of those fun tools that you'd maybe like to work with. I'm not as high on him. Our previous big board, as Jack's pulling up here at No Ceilings, we had him at 36. I think it's just one of those like, hey, he's nice. The tools are impressive. It's if one team's buying in on him, you get the idea. But it'd be fun value for me in the second round. I think some people might be like, hey, I love him in the end of the first. That's fine. Yeah. It's fun to dream about a 6'10" guy that can shoot threes and stuff. I just think there's a little bit more rawness to his game than overall. But he's fun. He's for fun for sure.
Love that. Sam, thoughts on Bobby Clintman?
Very handsome.
Great.
Afraid to smile.
Great analysis. Cool. Awesome. Appreciate you. Okay. What Michael have next? As you can tell, we're less than informed on a lot of these guys, Tyler. That's what I'm here for.
Come on.
Okay. So Kel'el Ware of Indiana. This is a name I've seen a lot in our comment section. I believe we had like 3 different people comment this.
Did they try and name him after Superman? Like Kal-El, but like this instead?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Tyler gets it, you don't.
I just like that. You guys just always make me laugh. I love this. Where's
He's
fun?
Gonna look it up. Yeah, it's with a C, but like when you say it out loud, it sounds like you try to say Kal-El.
What is Kal-El?
Kal-El.
I think that's like his like Kryptonian name.
Yeah.
RJ.
Kal-El.
All right. Well,
Kal-El, Ware's fun. So Ware was a former like top 15, top recruit coming out of high school. He went to Oregon for his freshman year. Just didn't really hit the ground running. Oregon wanted him to do a lot of stuff immediately. He just wasn't ready. Transferred to Indiana with Mike Woodson this year. He looked really, really good. He's lengthy. He could shoot 3 a little bit. Volleyball spikes. You know, he's a good rim protector. He just had a good year for them. They fed him a lot, but he showed the versatility. He had some motor questions last year. I think from what I've heard, those questions have been kind of answered in a good way, and he's been interviewing really well, and teams have been impressed. I'd love him to be on the board for the Celtics. I don't think he's going to make it to them. I think he's kind of done a good job this pre-draft process, and I think you're looking at him probably like 25 up. Okay. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he's going late lottery or right outside the lottery. I think he's had a quietly good process.
Gotcha.
I mean, he seems like the type of player that the Celtics could use going down the line. Like, you think about Horford being 38, 39 next June. Porzingis coming off this weird, rare injury. You're going to need depth at this position, especially when the future rolls around and Horford eventually does retire. He's not going to retire this season, but eventually he's going to have to. So this does seem like a pretty good bet, going with a big guy, good stats, good shooting percentages, can't shoot free throws. Do you put weight when guys are higher high school recruits? Like, do you think that means anything? Do you think it adds anything? I think the Warriors have like a little bit of a track record going with guys that were high school guys, and it's kind of panned out for them. You know, G.G. Jackson is somebody this season that going into the draft last year, he wasn't super highly, touted as a high pick, but he was somebody who coming out of high school was a high recruit.
And then there's Romeo Langford.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
The Celtics pick him, it doesn't matter.
I think, Sam, it does make a little bit. You want to make note of it. I just also think if you're well known, teams have been paying attention to you longer. So like Avery Bradley back in the day was like one of the top recruits, then was just the vicious on-ball defender at Texas. Celtics still drafted him in the first round. I think you've had more time to kind of get to know them and be familiar with them. So maybe there's just a level of comfort, but like there's also just times where guys weren't big high school recruits and they'll go find you if you're playing good enough. Derek White, Bub Carrington this year was not a humongous recruit, and now all of a sudden he's been a very popular name in the pre-draft process. But I'm with you. I keep waiting for them to get big depth. And this is a year where like the depth of the big man position I like it a lot. For a team like the Celtics, I'm like, just Brad, please stay there and just pick for once. I know the salary cap problems. I know what we're trying to do. I know you're going to trade back. It's not my money. Come on, Wick is fine if you stay at 30. But I also think if they trade back this year, like there's still going to be really good big man depth. So I'd love them to get. They just need some insurance. Like this roster doesn't need a ton, but I'd like you to get some big insurance for, like Sam said, when it's time for Al to go. If we have to keep dealing with Porzingis, or if we have to wrap him in bubble wrap until the playoffs, and then just be like, okay, it's time to take the packaging off. I just want them to get someone that could kind of help, that they can work with too and groom.
Plus, there's like these guys are great mentors wrinkle to it too.
Yes.
Like for this guy to come in and learn from Horford and Porzingis is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
We also we forgot to mention this. Sam and I are doing our own series of looking at potential guys who could go to the Celtics, and we've only done 2 so far, but I think we're going to start ramping up and do 1 or 2 a day from now on, and we're putting them in a tier list. And so when we're done with our tier list, we're going to send you a picture of the tier list, and you can tell us if we're idiots or not based on.
I'll give you some names. You guys send me, and I'll give you some names that I think you'll have some fun watching, because I have a lot of names I'm excited about that I think the Celtics might actually target. Like so
we've watched
I'll send you some names.
2 so far. We've watched Baylor, Scheierman, and Tyler Smith.
Okay.
So far.
I'll have one that's for your column.
I think I'm going to have one that you guys will get very pumped about. So I'll send you one.
Edie?
No. No. It's going to be a second round big. Let's see if he's on the list.
Love that. All right.
Ronnie.
Michael list.
Thoughts on Bill Simmons' hold Bronny hostage take?
I tried not to laugh while listening to it, and then I was like, it would be the best power move ever if you win a title and then just draft him.
You imagine Bronny James playing in Portland, Maine.
Apparently they don't want to put him on a 2-way, so that won't even happen.
No, Jordan Walsh wasn't on a 2-way.
Like the clutch agency is saying.
Yeah, they said we don't want a 2-way.
I know, but my point is he can still play in the G League.
I see.
I wouldn't be drafting him.
Anyways, Keyshawn George out of Miami, 20, 6'8", quick, one of the best looking shots in the draft. I've seen him mocked way higher than 30. Am I wrong?
Yeah, teams love him. Teams are head over heels for him.
I know something. Come on.
He can shoot. He's raw. He's very lengthy. I know he's 6'8". He looks like an Inspector Gadget out there. He's just super stretched out, a little thin. Not the quickest first step, not the quickest creator. He covers a lot of ground, but he can shoot. Like he wasn't playing a ton to begin the year, so you'll see those stats and be like, what's going on? But then they started to play him, and that Miami team was very ISO hero ball. So then he started playing and was like the one player that would like pass and move the ball, and he was just fun to watch on that team. So I think he's a bit of like the upside potential swing, but the one skill he has right now is a beautiful shot that he can hit from really deep. That's consistent. So I would be shocked if he's there. Everyone I'm talked to is like, oh gosh, he could go so early. Teams love him. And I'm like, oh gosh, like this draft. That's why people are getting excited about this draft, because it's going to be unbelievable TV on draft night. No one knows what the heck's going to happen. Like it's crazy. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, you even look here, like this is from June 5th or something. This big board, and TJ is going to be top 10 pick now.
Yeah, I mean he's going lottery. We had him earlier in the year, like up there, like towards the top, towards the lottery. Now he's moved down, and then I think right before I hopped on with you guys, we just updated our last board.
Oh, really? Is this not the most updated?
No, it's okay. No. We haven't posted it. I have to make graphics tonight, so
okay.
You're fine.
Great.
Yeah, I literally got it.
By, oh, gosh. Let me go by y'all's latest mock then instead. So it's just the most recent.
Oh, this is fine. Something. You're good. I mean,
no, I need to be updated. Come on. Anyways, Michael's next guy is Tyler Smith, who, like I mentioned, we did do a little video on at a G League night. 20, 6'11".
What did you guys think? And then I'll tell you.
We have A, B, C, D, F tiers, or S, then A, B, C, D, F. What did we put? We put him, I think, D.
Is that like the tier maker thing or whatever?
Yeah. We had him D tier. We didn't love Tyler Smith, but please tell us that we're stupid if we're stupid.
No, I don't think you're that far off. I kind of agree.
Let's go.
We can appropriately react to highlights and pick out weaknesses.
You know what he is? He's not a good. It's probably not the best highlight person, because he's one of those like boring, like understands his shot. Like when you watch him in a game, you're like, oh, he's pretty sweet. Like you'd like to have him probably like in your rotation, but at the end, because he doesn't take a ton of he doesn't take bad shots. He will take the shot when he's wide open. If you give him a little 18-footer, he's like, I'll take this, and he's got a good-looking shot. The rest of the stuff is just a little offensively is raw. He's like the pick and pop Channing Frye, maybe. Like, you know, it's just like one-dimensional and still really young, so you're maybe like, oh, maybe there's some more stuff that can develop. I like him. I think he's one of those ingredients where a team that, you know, maybe as a playoff contender is like, oh, now we can add a 6'10" three-point shooter for a pick and pop. Like, that might be fun to work with, but I'm not taking that very early, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you could find those later, and, you know, I think he's just got some work to do, but he's nice. Like, every time I've watched him, I'm like, he doesn't force shots. He makes the right shot. Like he's comfortable what type of player he is. And he's usually he kind of tailed off towards the end with his percentages, but his percentages all year were really nice. So I don't think you guys are far off. He's not the greatest highlight machine, but he's also just like he might come in and get 12 points and 6 boards in limited minutes and give you a nice boost.
Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the tip-off. Like right now, I was looking on the app, and it's really easy to use. Just download the app. Lots of pictures for us sports fans, lots of pictures. And, you know, the tickets for Celtics Game 1 and whoever they play, between $600-$700. But the closer you get to actual tip time, it's going to go down. So you and your friends may do a last-minute thing. And I know it's a lot of money, but maybe it's 2-3 of your friends, last minute trip, boom, let's go. Let's see what the tickets are on Game Time. You never know. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Okay, here's the deal. Last minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Now the flash deal is save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. Save even more when you choose a section for the zone deals. You choose a section, let Game Time choose the seats. Sounds pretty good to me. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Kind of sounds like what the Celtics could use a little bit.
Yeah,
It is like that's you get to a point in this draft, and it's like that guy kind of sounds perfect at the end of the roster if you're kind of developing him. But you could see also why that guy might not go super early.
Correct.
Because teams might
we
be like,
watched. I think it was Sleepers Media, their video, and they did like what is it, like ceiling and floor, and it was like Nas Reed ceiling and Tyler Lydon floor, and we are like, oh, that's interesting. Tyler Lydon is
like the window.
That's quite the
never good when you're seeing some guy for the first time as a comparison.
Leave Tyler Lydon alone, man. Come on, he didn't do nothing to nobody.
It's always funny when they pull one like out of nowhere. You're like, what? And then someone will be like, who's that? And they have to go watch film and then be like, oh my. So, but no, I mean I guess Nas Reed, you're thinking that you're hoping you get to that point. He's still young though. It's just I like he's slipped a little bit. He was kind of getting in that late lottery convo, and at one point this year, like there's a point this year, people were like, is he the best Ignite prospect? Just because he was very efficient in limited minutes and was a 3-point shooter that didn't take bad shots and just played within his role and was very confident. So it'll be interesting. I think he's cooled a little bit. He could be on the board when the Celtics are up before they trade back 3 times. They're going to take him, and then it's going to be like, this pick's actually being traded too. And I'm going to be like, can we just not do this? And I want to get happy about one pick before they trade it 4 times.
Never
That was us
wild.
last year. We did a stream, and it was 1,000,000,000 degrees, and I had a flight in the morning at 6, and they just kept trading back. It was brutal.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll see, Brad. Deron Holmes II at a Dayton, 21, 6'10", can close out. Has a commit support. Supposedly, I saw this report. There's another guy. He's not going to be there at 30, right? I think he's going higher than 30.
Yeah, he's the belle of the ball right now. Everyone's
really?
liking him a lot. He's had a good process. Yes, he does have a promise. I'm not going to tell you guys on the air. I'll tell you off the air. It's a team in front of the Celtics, so
okay. I didn't even know you knew that. Hell yeah!
That's when you.
It's a team in front of the Celtics. Which actually, now that I said that out loud, I'm like, well, every team's in front of the Celtics.
Hey, you hear that, listeners? You don't get to know.
But I also think it's tough because I don't think he's going to make it to the team that promised him. So, he's just been very popular right now. He went back to school. He had a good year the year before last. Went back to school. Like, they kind of shifted his role completely. They used to post him up like crazy, and he was just dominant. And then this year, they kind of said, okay, we got to get you more versatile. And he was fantastic. He's just a tough kid that kept getting better each year. Can step out and hit the three, but doesn't force it. Also could take it off the bounce and throw down with some anger. One of those, like, I don't like comparing any prospect to a superstar, but you know how Embiid just does some stuff like off the dribble. You're like, it looks like he's in slow motion, but no one can get in front of him.
Yes,
it's just like that. It's like, so he does some stuff like that. You're like, why can't someone cut him off? And then, but Embiid's also like much bigger and filled out. Duran's like he's gained some weight, I think, before the pre-draft process, but he's still like a little thinner lower body. But he's good. He's a stud. I think a lot of teams like him.
Sick. Love that. So, unfortunately for the Celtics and Michael, sorry.
No, it's okay. He's giving me some good names. It's just tough. It's tough when you're picking 30th. Like, it's a good problem.
Yeah, they sucked. They didn't tank. They should have did it.
All right. This is the first name I don't know. Ulrich.
Ooh, we're getting into okay.
Can you say the last name? Because I'm going to butcher it. Do you know how to say it?
Chomchi.
Okay, I was going to say Chomchi. Ulrich or Ulrich? Kick?
I've been saying Ulrich, Ulrich.
Chomchi. 18, very young. Project player, good defender, strong. Shot 38% at the NBA Development League. Is that from the field? Or 3? I hope it's 3. Perfect. It could be the next big project. Could be available with second-round pick. Thoughts on Ulrich? I'm just going to call him Chomchi because that's fun.
Yeah, I did too. Whenever I get nervous, I'm like, which name can I pronounce? Chomchi. So he was with NBA Academy Africa. He played like 3 games at like the showcase and put up like crazy numbers. And then he was on the fence. He actually went to Nike Hoop Summit this year and was like able to play there, and then was on the fence of declaring for the draft or he was going to go to college. And I saw him in person. He does some stuff that's really exciting that you'd like to work with. Like, he's a lob guy. He's a high motor guy that all of a sudden just tip dunks and effective rebounds. There's a lot of fun, raw stuff. He needs some time in the G League, like legit time to just get reps. But it's like, okay, at some point, if you're buying in, it's a fun thing. I think people were shocked he stayed in the draft. But I also get it. Like, okay, fine, I get it. You're intrigued. You must feel good about where your stock's at, but I don't know about the Celts unless they're just like, hey, we're trading back in the second and we're going to get him. Maybe you get a couple second-round picks and you get him as you're just like, okay, he's going to be great in Maine this year. There's our starting center in Maine, and you kind of do the Jordan Walsh project or experience, but you start over with Ulrich. I don't know. So I get it. If they took him if they stayed at 30 and took him, I'd probably fall out of my chair. But he's a fun project. Like if a team has second-round picks and a couple extras, and you're fine with like, hey, he's in the G League the first year, I think it's a great investment to just be like, why not? We could strike gold.
They got to repeat as Eastern Conference G League champs. So this is step 1.
There you
Gosh,
go.
I wish they won it so they could have said we won.
That
I was
so
at the game.
titles.
Sam was there.
Oh,
Tough. Bad luck,
That's
Sam.
tough.
Not allowed anymore. You're banned.
Literally from the get-go, just not a shot.
Man.
So you have a different perspective then. You really got to appreciate the big club's title.
Yeah.
Like you really got to appreciate
I was
it because you
devastated
saw
when Maine
defeat.
lost. I didn't know what to do with myself. No, I actually was really impressed with just the way Coach Miller handled that, and he was just like, this is a great group of guys, and we achieved a lot. And the G League, the whole point is actually to grow. It's not necessarily to win. So they were technically winners this season.
I love how you said that. Some people don't realize that. It's like the G League, they're supposed to be developing guys.
Fucking losers. Can't believe they fucking lost the finals.
It's true. They almost had bad precedent. Good thing those G League guys didn't get in the game in the NBA Finals.
Well, they did technically, kind of, at the end.
They lost
got
that
in.
game.
Ryan Dunn, Virginia. 21, 6'8", best defender in the draft. Is this true? Is Michael cooking?
Yes.
Ooh, Michael,
Yes.
come on.
And guess what? We're in a territory right now where this is a realistic shot for the Celtics. Okay, so I love Ryan Dunn. Absolutely love him. Think about Jordan Walsh on steroids defensively. Like he is the best defensive player probably in this class. Now you're probably saying you guys have him 38th in your last mock draft. How can he be that low?
I see why.
There's no offense. There's none. It's really weird because the shot doesn't look as bad as those numbers would suggest. No, it looks better. It's just there's no confidence. Virginia just didn't want him shooting threes. He didn't have confidence to shoot threes. So if some teams hey, the shot we can work with, we can get this going, there's a place for him to be an absolute weapon. Virginia kind of played him at a 4 as a freshman, and then would make him be an on-ball screen guy. He would just do all the dirty work. And then this year they kept letting him do that. He dunks on people. He had games this year with 5 blocks and 3 steals. He had a game, I think, this year with 7 blocks. He is possessed defensively. So it's not you're getting a Matisse Thybulle. It's a crazy psycho defender. It's just, I think the Celtics would look at him and be like, okay, we're putting him in with, Jaylen Brown and Tatum and just going to let him be a psycho defender and he doesn't need to score. But it's just, could you figure out a role for him without being a threat offensively? And he's not he's a good awareness offensively. He's not I don't know what to do with the ball. He just doesn't look to score unless he's cutting, dunking. But if you're hey, with defense, if they could figure him out and have him and Jordan Walsh, it'd be hilarious. Just how much defensive talent they would have.
Go do it. One game. They never brought Tatum off the bench. Now I think about it, Jack. Remember when he was what if I come off the bench one game?
They lied.
Never did it.
Liars. Those losers. Can't even commit, man. Justin Edwards out of Kentucky. 20, 6'6". Shot looks better than the stats, according to Michael. Decent defender. Lots of upside. I've seen him in the 30 range as well. But
yeah, he should be there. There was a point this year, coming into the year, we thought he was going to be top 3 guy, a top 3 to 5
draft.
pick.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
He was a number one overall recruit at one point for most of the year coming out of high school, and I think he dropped down to 3. Lefty with good size. Just for most of the season, it just you kept waiting. You're when is you going to find the confidence? And finally, he had a couple games where he was okay, he's starting to wake up a little bit. Then he had a game where he went 11 for 11, he just couldn't miss, and it was oh, this is fun. It was just a weird year. Just never seen. I feel he dealt with some confidence. He was one of those guys. It sounds like he was overworking because he felt he wasn't delivering, so he was just obsessively in the gym. I think a team just needs to give him some confidence. I think he just needs some time to realize, like, hey, just piece it together. Because there's some good stuff. The shot looks beautiful. It's just like, okay, like some games it's just like, okay, every shot looks good, but it's not going in. It drives me crazy. So I loved him coming into the year, and I just feel like it was a tough year where it's just like that he didn't live up to the hype. I don't know. I think there's some good defensive potential, but there's inconsistencies. It's just one of those frustrating guys where you're like, you watch him, you're like, this should be Rodney Hood or some guy that just plays for a long time and then just never really finds that next step. So he's kind of one of those, I could see a team investing in the second round pretty early because they're like, hey, this has real shot to deliver, but just was like I was shocked he stayed in, but also not really because I didn't think him going back was going to help. And I just think it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. So he could be a Celtics. It feels like a Brad thing if he did it. It would be like, oh, Brad's buying in on the, bad year. One bad year doesn't tell everything, and maybe you put him in the G League, let him get some reps. I don't know.
Brad does know all.
Brad does know all. Shout out, Brad.
All right. We're familiar with this guy. Kyle Filipowski, 7 foot. Good shot for him. Gallinari type.
The frustration.
No. I don't want him for the Celtics.
All right.
No.
All right.
I don't want him. He's good. I've tried forever. I've tried since last year to buy in. We did that one, and I was like, I hate that spot. No, I just don't like him for the Celtics. Okay, I'll take it back. If he was there and they took him at 30, I'd be like, okay, that's really good pick at 30. But I just don't really want to do it.
Okay.
Funny story is the Celtics keep taking guys that I'm not high on. So like they took JD Davison, and I was like, I would just not want to draft JD Davison. And then they took him, and I was like, why did the Celtics hurt me? And then the next year I was like, I'm not the biggest Jordan Walsh guy, and they took him. So if everyone's listening to this, like just be ready for Filipowski to fall into the laps, and then Brad's gonna be like, oh, easy pick. But he seems like a pick and pop guy that never really came to develop into a pick and pop guy. He had like a double hip surgery before the season.
It's young.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of weird, and I don't know. I just not the biggest fan. But if at 30, I would be a
30. Okay.
Great pick because he could probably stick.
AJ Johnson, NBL, 19, 6'4" combo guard, fits the Celtic system per Michael. Could get away with drafting him later. I'm just per Michael on everything here because I'm just shout out Michael for doing the draft for us.
So shout out Michael. I love this. AJ's really, I would like be doing a backflip if the Celtics drafted AJ. So he was supposed to go to Texas. I had a exec tell me in the beginning of the year if AJ went to Texas, he would have been a lottery
Tatum
pick.
Connection, right? Doesn't
yes.
LaMelo.
There you go.
Justin Tatum.
So this AJ is lightning in a bottle. He's got athleticism. He's got crazy burst. He's thin. You're going to look at those numbers and be like, what are you doing? You watch some of his tape and you're like, why didn't they play this kid more? Like, what is the deal? And I heard that was just a rough year for NBL with all these guys coming in, but there's talent here. And then he played at the Combine and was like very impressive. He's like 6'5" with bounce. That's very raw still, but he's not his actual brother, but him and Jalen Green are like have been lifelong friends, and they play a lot like similar. It's like that explosive, bursty, high flying. I just think that he's had a good process. He's one name that I would love the Celtics to get him and just be like crazy upside. Like just let him get some reps, let his body fill out, and then if you had AJ Johnson somehow coming off the bench, if everything hits, you're like, oh gosh, we have a real weapon here. So, I don't know. Lethal Weapon. Good movie.
Definitely sounds like something good for me. Just highlight tape up there at the expo.
Yeah. You'll like the highlight tape. He just does a couple of things. You're like, oh gosh, I draft him just off of like
First pick.
that,
Watch one,
like that
one
play.
like set of highlights.
Well, and
Love
there's
that.
some playmaking stuff. There's some feel stuff that you're like, ooh, he's got real vision. Like, it's tough because I think if he went to Texas, he probably would have ended up in the lottery. But I've heard good things about the pre-draft process. I think he grew a little bit. So he's kind of one of those late bloomers. Like, it's fun player.
Gotcha. Shout out Michael. Found a good one.
Michael's on fire.
Terrence Shannon Jr., 23, so older, 6'6". Obviously had
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
off
aware
the
of.
court, but was found not guilty. Good enough shooter, playmaker, transition, all that stuff. I think he's probably going pre-30. Am I correct in saying that? Or
Yeah.
He had a crazy game in the Big Ten tournament, right? Or was
Yeah.
that actually in the real tournament? Forget. Maybe both. He was really good for Illinois.
He's been good for them. So we haven't had him on our board all year, pretty much at no ceilings since the stuff came out, because we just kind of all talked and we were like, we're not gonna go down that road. It was more just kind of like a no. Someone's at least asked every time, where's Terrence Shannon Jr.? And I'm like, well, what do you think? He's fun. Now he's not guilty, so I'm not making any judgment. I'm just saying he's not guilty. Or he was ruled not guilty. I think someone's going to take him probably in the first round if teams are done their homework and cleared out. I haven't heard anything bad. I haven't heard that there's any serious concerns or anything. But he's tough. He's tough. He's physical. Lefty. Could play good defense. Shot's probably gotten a little bit better. I'd like it to take a bigger step, but he's just not going to be that 3-point shoot weapon. I think he's just going to be this tough as nails downhill driver that can play good defense, and I think teams always love those type of guys at some point. So maybe I don't know if I could see the Celts swinging on that.
Especially coming
I
off a
don't know.
championship, like you don't want like any extra storylines or anything extra coming into your team.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. This isn't like me trying to go after Terrence Shannon Jr. I'm just saying I don't know if even with him being, ruled not guilty, I don't know if that's the first swing you want to take after a title.
Yeah, it's just not
It's like, hey, let's add him to the mix. We have this great chemistry. Let's throw in,
Mhm.
and you know what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah, we avoid
do their
Terrence
homework.
Shannon Jr. We'll avoid.
yeah, they'll do their homework.
Carlton Carrington, aka Bub Carrington, 18, 6'5". He's somebody I've seen is like soaring up draft boards in recent weeks. So
Yeah.
again, probably not at 30, but I've heard good things.
Fun. He's really fun. He's like pretty much if you were making a guard, it's everything you'd want, and he's still raw, but it's like the foundation of tools is really fun for a rookie to like build with. Might take a couple, just a little bit for everything to click, kind of like SGA, how it's like, oh, he's fun. And then all of a sudden one season, it just was like, oh, SGA's here and he's awesome. He's incredible. So I think Carrington's got a lot of good stuff. He's got to work on his 3-point shot. He weighed way more than I thought he was. Like at the combine, I think he was like closer to like 195. I thought he was going to be like 180. Nice. No, he was just like, he looks so skinny on film, and he's one of those like he wears long sleeves. So I was like, are you hiding wearing long sleeves because you're super skinny?
Little baby arms.
Yeah, baby arms. And then he weighed, and I was like, whoa, that's a great number. So he's good. He
nice.
Can play. He had like a triple-double to start the year, and everyone's like, who the heck is this? And then he's just kind of been one of those guys. He kept getting better. So yeah, I think he'll be gone. But if he was on the board at 30, they should sprint to the podium. But it's tough. You guys are giving me guys, and I'm like, yeah, like a couple months ago, they might have had a shot, but now.
Well, look at Cam Whitmore last year. Fell all the way
Exactly.
from 3 to 20, so you never know, I guess.
And this year is the year where more guys could fall than ever. Like it's up in the air.
Okay. Now, Pacome Daddier, did I say it right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Daddier.
if they draft somebody named Ratio Farm,
Oh, that's his team. That's his team.
Okay. Well, what a team. Like Twitter would have a field day. Anyways, 18, 6'8", elite catch and shoot player, 39%, created his own shot, raw skill set, etc. I just saw this name for the first time like a week ago when I was writing a random mock draft for a site that I write for.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about this guy. But
I love him. I would do a backflip if the Celtics got him. So Ratio Farm Ulm won their league last year and had like their whole roster coming back. It was Trevion Williams, I think, is on their roster. So there you go, little summer league name for you guys.
Okay.
They were good. They're very skilled. They're good. And Bacombe was like their young guy in their academy that they were kind of playing with the big team sometimes. He's really skilled, really smooth. The fact that he earned minutes on a returning team that was a winner was kind of notable. He kept getting better as the year went on. He's been smooth. And I previously worked with their player development coach. So we've been talking about Bacombe since like last year. And he was just like, I love him. He works hard. He's got a lot of talent to work with, and I think he's a name that is popular around the Celtics territory right now. Like, I think a lot of teams are intrigued with him because he has a lot of offensive upside. So he'd be fun. If he's there and the Celtics trade back, I'm gonna lose it.
Sounds like my favorite yet.
He would be so much fun. Like, if you have Bacombe to work with, like, that just gets like, oh, you're gonna go to camp and work with, practice against Tatum and Brown. Like, he'd first probably be like, I'm gonna cry with Drew Holiday guarding me, but then he'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get better. Like, he's just a hardworking kid that's getting really good. So I think he's a diamond in the rough.
Ooh,
love that.
Nice.
Good to know. Harrison Ingram out of UNC. 21, 6'5", 7-foot wingspan at 6'5" is insane. Good shooter, can defend. Would fit Missoula ball well per Michael.
Oh, he would for sure.
Does he even have to bend down to tie his shoes?
Huh?
Probably not.
Does he even have to bend over to tie his shoes with that wingspan?
Jesus.
No. So he went to, this is the Celtics trade back and get Ingram 100%. Like, they trade back to the 40th pick somehow. I don't know. We'll see. But he was at Stanford. He was buzzing his freshman year at Stanford. And I saw him actually play, and he was a little bit like, he still had some baby fat. Like, his body hadn't really developed. And I was like, he needs some time. He went to Stanford for another year. He transferred to North Carolina this year, and his body was just like, he turned into the Hulk, and he plays really tough. He rebounds. The three-point shots gotten much better. At Stanford, he was their playmaker. Like, they ran everything through him. So, like, those 2.2 assists might be like, oh, what? But no, he can make plays too. He's just tough. He would be a very good guy off the bench to, like, groom. Maybe he turns into that, like, a young Jay Crowder or James Posey-ish for Celtics fans that you never really know. Like, the three-point shot still needs to improve. It was weird because the three-point shot was way better this year, and then you see 61% from the line. You're like, what's going on? So, but he's trending in the right direction. Like, he's tough. He plays really physical. Just, like, plays like he's a center, but he's a small forward.
Love that.
Best thing about, like, the Celtics this year, they can afford to just stash and just be like, okay, you're on the team, you're not going to play, get better, and you'll be playing down the line.
Love that. Need that. We mentioned him, Baylor Scheierman out of Creighton, 23, 6'6", great shooter, elite playmaker, 20% assist rate, not a good defender. Slow white guy, big shocker, says Michael.
Michael, why is Michael hating on Baylor? Hey, I tell you what, I think the Celtics would dream of him being at 30. He's had like one of the best. Oh yeah, he's had one of the best like pre-draft process. I think they would love him. I think you guys would love him. I think I would love him. Like he'd just be.
That.
Do you think Hauser's Is Hauser
This is
staying?
what we were talking about. I think he's supposed to say. There's something from John Hollinger, which we actually talked about, quote unquote, later in this episode, where he probably is going to get extended. But we got to edit that. But yeah, I think they're looking to re-sign him this summer. Is the goal for Hauser. But
If somehow he left, I feel like this could be Hauser with a bit of boost because he's got good playmaking too. He's not a great defender, but like he's better than Hauser was as a prospect. So that but I think they're gonna keep Hauser. I think they probably love Hauser. But I think Scheierman's got a lot of teams like excited that he's a 6'7" microwave, good feel, good playmaker. Like those guys you love off the bench. He's love having Heat, that. Probably
Heat culture guy, yeah.
Heat culture guy. He's just feisty too. Go ahead.
We did a quick video on him. One of the comments was like, if he's built like me, don't draft him.
Yeah.
Damn. What did I do? Where did Baylor Scheierman go? Did I switch? What did I do?
What are you guys rooting for? What do you want this
I truly just want them to get a guy that can be down the line ready for when Horford retires. Because I just think that's going to be the hardest gap to fill after it happens with the CBA, with the paychecks they're going to be dishing out. They're going to be very limited in the kind of talent that they can bring in. With Porzingis being a liability injury-wise, like you need that insurance. You need somebody that can stretch the floor. You need somebody that can defend. Like you kind of need it.
Mm-hmm. I think I probably agree, but at the same time, like it's this weird thing where I definitely think big man is the biggest need, but they also have Cornette, they also have Tillman, they also have Cater. Like they have like thrown some darts there to try to figure it out, and like it almost makes me wonder if maybe you get like a guard forward combo wing guy because you don't really have that past Hauser. Like if Hauser gets hurt or Tatum or Brown gets hurt, like you can just run a big up, but like it would be nice to have like I guess they tried that with Jordan Walsh too. So I wouldn't hate that sort of guard wing combo type thing either. But
yeah, I think they're hoping Walsh takes a nice little step forward and is maybe like Hauser insurance, and then maybe they give him a little bit of like run in the middle of the season, and they're like, oh, pleasantly surprised. Like Jordan might be more ready. And then maybe you have like a yin and yang where like we need offense. Okay, Hauser's in. We need a defensive boost.
Walsh.
But I hear you. I feel like I've always been waiting for them to get another shooter or get like another microwave guy, or I've wanted them to take some big man depth for 3 years. And then I feel like they keep doubling down on Horford's health. And I'm like, okay, can we get someone for like when they're up 20 in halftime in January? We can take Al out and put in the rookie for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hear you. I'm rooting for a big for them.
Michael says his top 5 favorites are Kelly Ware, Tyler Smith, Ryan Dunn, Pacome Daddier, Harrison Ingram, and then guys I've looked at but don't really care for. Kolek, too small. Tyler Kolek, too small. Johnny Furphy, no offense, no defense, reminds me of Grady Dick. And then Zach Edey doesn't fit Missoula ball. So if you want to do quick hitters on this trio of he doesn't like.
Kolek I like. Furphy I think's dealer's choice. Like what teams are going to be like, some other teams going to be like, I like him. I think his body needs to fill up, but he's a smart player off the ball. Yeah. More athletic than Grady Dick. Edey, I can't.
not needy guy.
If he's at 30, I'd be in. If you're taking him in the lottery, I cannot do it. I
talked to a guy named Arya who writes for, I think, Sports Illustrated's draft site or something like that. And we were talking draft, and he said, I think he has Zach Edey's top 5. And I was like, wow. I feel like the range
would be crazy.
I was like, oh my gosh. I also argued with him with my uneducated brain because he said he doesn't like Reed Shepherd at all. And I told him I think Reed Shepherd's the best player in the draft. And so we had a spat.
That's probably my favorite thing is Jack DM'd me was it after the finals?
I was in the airport on my way to Dallas.
It was
game
okay.
3.
It's my favorite thing because you're not the only NBA person. Like I'm saying, just like NBA media writers. It's funny when you guys ask questions to the draft people because like I love hearing that because you're watching NBA all year. So you're just like watching a prospect real quick and you're like, what is everyone confused about? And what you said to me was just like, why is Reed Shepherd not one of the top guys in this class? And I was just like, that's a fantastic. And I think I even told the No Ceilings team, and they're like, that's fascinating because every single media guy just loves Reed because you guys are seeing like this is gonna work at the next level. Like this is exactly the type of guys that are effective. It's just funny. It's kind of a cool little like. All right, like it's nice to see it out of your guys' eyes too. So
I'll take it.
Yeah. But Edey, I mean, he's got the craziest range ever. I can't get one similar answer. No one knows where he's going. Everyone's prepared for it to be anywhere. Like I think there's going to be a range in which we're like Edey watches starting now. It could be at any pick, and that's how scouts feel. Like they're like he could go anywhere. It wouldn't shock us. He could go anywhere. Some teams are obsessed with them.
Really?
It's just crazy.
Run the whole offense through.
Yeah, run it. Okay, so we have 2 emails from I forget exactly from where's the starred? Am I stupid? Starred right here. Ryan Hall. So I had never heard of either of these people I was sent, and they are okay. Never mind. Tyler Smith was one. He sent us Tyler Smith, and then late second round guys. Coleman Hawkins and Drew Pember, and I don't know either of those people, even a little.
Coleman went back. He withdrew.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give Ryan the credit because I think that was before. Oh no, you guys, come on! Your focus. Every Celtics fan gets a pass because we had bigger things on our minds.
Yes,
we're stressing about something else. Coleman kind of like snuck through the cracks and just was like, "Oh, I'm going back." I think he actually just kind of held out and said, "Who wants to give me the most money to go back to school?"
Fair.
Pember? Did Pember go back? Pember might have gone back. I'm not positive. I'll give you some shooting bigs.
Well, he's got 2 more for you.
Oh, go ahead. Quinn Post, yes.
Quentin Post. Oh, we're a Quentin Post fan?
He probably at 55 is more in the conversation, but he's just one of those like underrated. Like Dude can just play. He's crafty. He's good. He's skilled.
BC too would be fun. Would be cool.
Yeah, BC. Him. PJ Hall is very fun. I would love. He'd be a very fun Celtics pick.
Give us one more. Enrique Freeman is who else he gave.
Oh yeah, that's
okay.
Their name right
Look
now.
at Ryan. Ryan's cooking.
Ryan's on fire.
All of them.
Ryan's on fire right now. Enrique's very Hansel hot right now in the draft space.
I like that.
He's older. He went to Akron. He's one of those like gadget guys that had like 18 and 12, and you're like, what in the world? And then everyone was worried about his shot, and it looks like it's gotten much better. I've heard he's had very impressive workouts shooting 3-point shots. So he could be at 30. He also could be, they trade back a little bit because they feel good that they can get him, at 36 or something. He's buzzing right now, but it's also one of those, like, you're buzzing a lot, but like how much? Like first round buzzing, or are you just like now becoming a priority second round guy?
Interesting. Okay. I like that. You said PJ Hall too. Who's PJ?
PJ's nasty big center, like 6'9", 6'10", that can pull it from really deep. Like a Porzingis that's 6'9", stocky, and dunks on people.
Ooh.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, he'd be very fun for Boston. Boston fans would see his highlights and be like, "Oh, we're all in. We're gonna win it again." Like people would get very pumped. Like he plays tough. He plays with heart on his sleeve. Defensively, he can hold his own. He got better at like as a drop big, but he can pull it. He also takes some shots where you're like, you're really pulling it. You probably didn't need to pull it from that deep. But
Missoula ball.
As a Missoula ball, Horford protege, like I would be all in for PJ.
All right. Sam, you have anything, or should I run through some of these quick hitter comments? We have some comments in our last few videos.
Oh, I love this.
Run through them quick, yeah.
Caleb says Jonathan Magobo, San Francisco. Mobo. Jonathan Mobo. Thoughts?
Thoughts would love him.
Okay, cool.
He was a guard his whole life and grew a ton. So he's like, he's not Rob athletic wise, but he's Rob where like he throws dimes and like I miss Time Lord. Hope he's doing well. But I was just excited. You'd be like, oh gosh, Robert Williams he's a playmaker. Like he can make some really beautiful reads. Mobo's got that in his game. I like that. He had a great year for San Francisco. He'd be very fun for like Horford. Horford could teach him a couple things. He's not going to shoot, but he's also just like you can run the offense through him. He's very skilled, rebounds. He'd be a very fun one.
Awesome. What else we got? RJ, who is like the GOAT of commenters / viewers because he emails us every time, is a Purdue fan. So he did ask about Zach Edey, which we went over. I don't know, RJ. Zach Edey.
He's getting picked in the top 5.
Apparently.
Edey's been unbelievable since his freshman year. Like how much better he got. It's just my preference. Like there's some in those feelings that love him. I'm just one of those, like, I'd love him in the late first round as my backup to start, like right away as he gets comfortable. I could see him playing a long time though, but someone's going to take him early. I just don't know how early.
Good for him. Got some people saying Bobby Clintman, and we talked about him. We've got some Jaron Holmes, Daddy A. Am I saying that right? Pacome Daddy A?
Pacome Daddy A.
Okay. AJ Johnson got it. Nikola Jurisic? Yeah, it'd be another fun one. Okay.
Serbian wing, really gifted playmaker. He would have been a first round last year, but the shot, another one of those guys where the shot looks good but never goes in. And then Topic, who's going to be a top 10 pick regardless of his injury, played with him this year, left, and then after he left Jurisic's team, Jurisic got hot from outside. Ooh. And it was everything's falling together, and he's 6'8", where he throws a couple passes, you're like, what in the world? He just has some crazy ballsy, this guy, after he throws you're like, okay, screw you. You're throwing that pass, it's right on the money. It's just, he's fun. I don't know if he'd be a Celtic. I don't know if they're sitting around the room we're gonna take Jurisic, but it'd be really cool and fun if they took him because he's just very high feel, fun, tough kid.
Love that. And then we have one comment that says the 7-footer out of Kentucky reminds me of KP with his athletic ability. I don't know if he meant Filipowski, meant Duke. Is there a 7-footer coming out of Kentucky that could possibly
I think he's talking about Zvonimir, who went back.
Okay.
And he's going to Arkansas. Ivisic, if that's who he's talking about.
Got it.
Yeah, he's going to Cal. He's going to Cal University, aka Arkansas. I think that's who he's talking about, but
it's gotta be. Yeah, I compared him to Porzingis. It has to be. I think that I think that covers it. In terms of Celtics prospects, is there any Celtics prospect we mixed? Who is your favorite? Get the Celtics. This guy realistic. Bring him on. If you had to pick.
It's just, it's tough because this year I think it's going to be more ever. I would want them to stay at 30 because I think the board's going to be very
open,
favorable for them. I think there's going to be some really good value that falls. I'm expecting them to trade back because of obvious reasons, because of how much cheaper it's going to be if they trade back 4 spots. And we're going to wait all night and then they're going to trade it, or they're going to just shock the crap out of us and just be you know what, we're taking them. But I think they're going to trade back. But
maybe they trade up, right?
You tune in the next day.
The second night's going to be hilarious. I don't know. There's a lot of names we talked about I think are realistic targets for them. Gosh, you guys gonna make me get my board out because I do know I'm forgetting a couple names that I feel like are gonna be in that conversation. Talked about Dunn. Okay, I'll spill who I was gonna tell you guys to watch. Adem Bonas, who I think you need to go watch.
Adem Bonas. If I have to ask you how to spell it, then that's gonna be a fun video.
ADEM and then BONA.
Adem Bona.
So my sales for Celtics fans would just be take the passing from Time Lord and then add about 20 pounds.
I like that.
He plays like the Incredible Hulk, and if we said, "Can you rebound and play defense?" Adem will be like, "I'll run through a wall for you. Whatever you want me to do." He plays with psychotic energy. Like his motor's never off. He's a big boy, and he had a bad year because UCLA got all these recruits from Europe, and everyone thought they were going to be like lottery picks, and literally all of them weren't ready to play. Like they just all were like overwhelmed. So they were like, "Hey, Adem, we need you to be like a post up. Like we're gonna feed you all night." And he's like, "What?" Like so he's a lob threat that I think he had like a 39-inch vertical. He's like 6'9" with a good wingspan and like 245. And he dunks like he's trying to rip the basket down. He's just
love that.
Very powerful. I think if he didn't have that roster this year, he probably would have gone early, or earlier. But I think like if the Celtics traded back, they could probably still get him at like 35. And
yes, sir.
He's a very tough. You're gonna watch some of his stuff and be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like he's one of those like runs from the other corner on a transition and swats it into the fifth row. Like he's just never stops trying. Like he'd be very fun. Yeah, be a good one. He's just really good defensively. Like it's not just highlights. He's really, really good defensively. Like switches. So yeah, I'd love him there, but I know Brad's just gonna trade back and rip my. He's gonna draft him and then trade him. It's just like you son of a. But yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot of good bigs, like depth wise, that you can work with this year.
Nice. Sounds like what they could hit on.
All right. Just keep making it bigger. Keep making it better.
This is the most excited I've been for a draft in a while, just because I feel like you mentioned, like I don't really know what's gonna happen. Not even for Celtics, just like I don't know who's gonna go first. I don't know who's gonna go second. I don't know who's gonna go third. Like it's probably gonna be like Saar, Ricochet, like 1, 2 in some order, and then mess from there. But like, are we convinced that those are the best two players in the class for sure? You know what I'm saying? There's no Wemby, there's no Zion, there's no nothing, and I think that's fun. I'm very excited. Like I told you, I genuinely think Reed Shepard's probably the best player in the class. I see people putting Devin Carter like 6th. Salon, I don't even know. You're not a Devin Carter guy?
No, he's.
Oh, you like Devin Carter? Okay.
Oh yeah, he's had one of the best pre-draft processes that I've ever seen. Wow. He's just like every single thing has been just like, every person I talk to just says like, oh, Devin Carter's just been destroying people at workouts. And then another player said like, I was at a group workout and I don't think he missed. Just like, oh my gosh. So I think he just had like he had like a 6'2". He measured in at like 6'2.5" with a 6'9" wingspan. He's just been, it's like the perfect dream if you're a prospect, like going through the process. So there's a lot of good talent. So it's just no one knows where they're gonna go. Like we never knew, but this year everyone's like, I have no idea. Like this guy's range is 7 to 25, and you're like, okay, that's a little aggressive. And then they say that for like 15 people, and you're like, what? Like it's gonna be nuts.
That's fun. That's real fun.
PC.
Shout out Rhode Island, baby. Find them on GeoGuessr. All right. I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else. Like, I don't want to hold you and like talk Europe all night.
On.
And
fine.
I don't.
What are you guys rooting for Celtics? Just like build through the draft, free agency, keep the roster, and just check ball. Jordan Walsh, year 2.
Yeah, I think it has to be, right?
Yeah, I'm just not sure how many guys are going to be like out the door. I'm not. It's just like a weird, like all the rotation guys seem like they're coming back. Like you might get some, ring chasing guys, but
Yeah, like a vet that we're like, whoa, how did we get him?
Say a name so you look like a genius when it happens.
I haven't looked, but I also don't know like what vet. It's tough when you're like, I'm like what Sam's saying. Like I've always been skeptical, like how you can bring back the whole roster. Like you're not going to try to
Tice,
but I think you're thinking like maybe younger players take a step. Tice, gosh, go to war with Tice,
please.
Like someone so like that. Maybe they're still thinking Springer. I don't know. I think Walsh is the name I'm the most excited, like, just to see. He's got a lot to gain.
Get a holiday. Aaron or Justin, come hang out. I'm just saying names. Just don't bring anybody but Simone Fontecchio. I don't like that guy. He says his name wrong. Pisses me off. People pronounce my name wrong because he says it differently.
Is Tillman restricted?
No, but I think they have his like bird rights or something. So I think they can bring him back if they want to. I love Tillman. I
liked him.
He's awesome. I like
good skill set. Shoots threes, plays defense.
So
the game he hit the three at Dallas, I was like, "What the heck's going on?" I was like, "This is an unbelievable moment." I was like, "That's Tillman!" And like when he was shooting it, I was like, "Oh gosh, that's Tillman!" And then he hit it. I was like, "This game's awesome."
I was at a media day, and I asked him stuff for a story I wrote. He told me like DJ McClay, who's an assistant, and then Svi Mikhailu were like playing Luka in practice, just like they were Luka, and that's how they were practicing defending Luka. But then after I finished, I just I'd talked for him like 15 minutes, whatever. Like we just sat there, and he's like the nicest dude, but he's like full on like down to earth family guy. Like he talked to me about how much he hates Boston traffic, food and stuff, and I'm like, this guy, like I would tell you he's 40 and he's 20. He's my age. That makes me really like, what the hell is happening?
I'd love them to keep him. I think he's just
I love him.
A good recipe to have in there. But yeah, it seemed like the moment he got traded, everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, fantastic person." I'm like, "Great,
yes,
just keep getting those guys."
He rocks.
So,
he rocks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's it though. Sam, anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyler. Would you mind telling the people where to find your work, No Ceilings, all that good stuff? Just because, like I always tell you, I messed it up when I say it. So.
No, come on, you guys too hard yourself. I'm at NoCeilingsNBA.com. If you guys are looking to get caught up on the draft, we have a draft guide actually that we work on all year. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Way too much time we put into it.
Can I link it?
Graphic designs on all of it. I lose so much sleep because of it, because we're always overthinking it and trying to perfect it with graphics and stuff. So, we got like player comps, which we call prospect chemistry, which is we compare like 3 different players to the prospect, and background, rights, everything. It's everything you'd want. So thank you guys for having me on anytime.
Oh yeah,
you guys got to bring me back so we can just talk hoops in general, because I feel like every time you guys bring me on, I'm just rambling forever, and then I'm like, well,
we love that though.
You guys can tell me I'm an idiot,
Well, we don't know enough to
we can't.
Yeah, we literally cannot.
This is actually a perfect spot for you, because it's impossible for us to do that.
Well, hey, watch some guys, some highlights, and let me know what you think, and I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you the goods. Just
challenging you. We're like, yeah, no, we don't think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they're draft. We did a couple PJ Hall we had for like a film sesh for No Ceilings on our YouTube channel. He like sat down. I heard it was. I haven't watched it yet. It was uploaded today or yesterday. Harrison Ingram. I'm wanting the Celtics to draft one of those guys, so I could be like, yes, hey Celtics fans, why don't you watch this? But Brad just keeps taking the guys that I don't.
Man,
so
we'll have you on during the summer, and we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Good
time. All right, we will let you go. We appreciate you very much, and hope to talk to you again soon. See you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're back. Thank you to Tyler Rucker. I'm sure it was phenomenal. We're going to record that a little later tonight as I'm sitting here right now, but I'm sure it was a great conversation. He's the best. And he's a Celtics fan too, so that's always fun. I'm sure we got his thoughts on the title. Moving into more Celtic stuff, Sam Hauser, extension talks. This is from John Hollinger of The Athletic. He wrote, quote, Hauser has 1 year left for the minimum on a team option, will be extension eligible this summer. He's about to get more expensive, but Boston sees him as a keeper. One possible cap shenanigan would be to decline Hauser's team option for the 24-25 season and re-sign him for lower money in more years than in an extension that starts 25-26. Doing so would increase the Celtics tax penalty for the 24-25 season, but less the impact of the repeater penalty and manage the second apron in the other years. He also mentioned that Tatum and White's extensions are likely. I feel like those are almost foregone conclusions at this point. And
Correct.
This would effectively just be, you would be extending Hauser off of the salary he's on this year rather than next year. And since he makes less this year, you'd extend him for fewer money versus the other money. So like Hauser would get the guaranteed, like, I'm going to be extended now, so I'll have the guaranteed money now. I don't think it necessarily would be a longer in terms of like, it would probably end a year sooner than if he extended next year, but he gets the guaranteed, I'm going to get paid rather than risk an injury or some other unforeseen circumstance. So would be cool. Would be nice. Not my money, obviously, like you say.
Yeah, not my money. But this move actually is a not their money either thing, because ultimately it lets them avoid the repeater tax, which is the real penalty of the second apron. Apparently, that's what my understanding of it is. Once you get into that, it becomes really brutal, and you start to really feel the effects of violating the financial rules. So if you're able to keep Hauser around, that's totally found money to me. I just kind of expected he would be done after next year and they wouldn't be able to get any kind of extension or any kind of new contract done because he would just garner too much cash. But ultimately, if he's willing to stick around on a discount extension for whatever discount that would be, that's a huge win for the Celtics because he can shoot the shit out of the ball and he plays good defense. Like, you're not having to worry about, oh, this guy is a liability. He's not getting targeted. He was one of the top 7 guys in the finals that was getting run with the clinch on the line. Like, Peyton Pritchard fell out of the rotation besides his half-court heave. Like, they trusted Hauser, and they trusted him even after he had that rough series against the Pacers.
Yeah, he's a big body. He can shoot the hell out of the ball, and he's been solid on defense for them all year. So, I mean, keeping him as a rotation piece would be incredible for the Celtics, especially considering I didn't think there was a likelihood. So if that ends up happening, I'd be surprised, but it would be a very pleasant surprise at that. So good for the Celtics. They like him a lot, and it seems like he could be around. Next thing, the Ringer came out with their top 100 players for the 2025 season because it's never too early, I guess.
Shout out to the Ringer for making everything black, so it ruins my top light. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Just more than.
But the NBA ranked was updated 2 days ago. As we're recording this, I can share my screen so you guys can see the whole list. I will say the thing I like about the Ringer is their graphics are sick. Like, everything looks super clean, always. So shout out the Ringer. But 6 Celtics made the top 100. Jason Tatum clocked in at number 5 right here, behind Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Shea, Tatum. I can't really complain. I would probably have him above Shea, but it's close, and it's not so outrageous that I'm going to complain about it. But I think he's in a fine spot for him. Any complaints for you?
I think Embiid is the cutoff where, like, that's the guy. If he's above Tatum, you get a little aggravated, and you're like, wait, why is he above him? Like, Embiid really doesn't serve as that big of a threat when it comes to winning basketball. But the rest of these guys, like, Jokic just won the championship last season. Luka just made the finals. Giannis has won a title, even though he has been hurt the last couple of years. Like, people talk about availability being a huge thing for players when discussing their impact. Like, Giannis has missed the first round in 2 consecutive seasons now. I think injuries are like unlucky and freak things, but he plays a style that does lend itself to injuries. Like, it's not shocking when you're like, oh, Giannis hurt himself.
Yeah. The tough part about the past 2 years though is like, it's not like he didn't play a lot during the season. Like, he played full seasons and then got hurt. Like, that was like okay, damn.
Well, that's where it comes to Embiid. Like, Embiid gets hurt in the playoffs. Everyone's like, well, he's always hurt in the playoffs. Like, it's crying wolf. Giannis is dangerously approaching crying wolf territory, if that makes any sense. Like, I guess you're like, okay, like, yeah, he's great, but let's see it.
I suppose. But like, Embiid's never played 70 games in a season ever. Not once. So like,
what's his most?
68.
68. So close. What about the COVID year? Like the one that they played 72 games.
What was that? 2021?
21.
51 games.
51 out of 72, so he still missed 21 games. And then
Yeah.
the year prior, I don't know how many games they played, so I won't even ask. But that was another shortened one.
Also played 51. So, like,
Okay.
he's played consistently like 60 plus, but last year played 39 because injury. Regardless, I think Tatum's in a fair place at 5. Then it goes Embiid, Curry, Ant, Durant, Davis, Brunson, LeBron. Interesting. Booker, Kawhi, Jaylen Brown clocking in at 15. I think it's pretty fair.
I think he's probably better than Booker.
Yeah, that's a little bit, but Kawhi
falls in that same weird Embiid category where you don't know if he's ever going to be there when the games are important.
Yeah. I still think I'd probably put Booker ahead of Jaylen, but it's close enough where I think there's an argument either way. But I do think that's cut off. Like, I don't think he goes any higher than 12. Like, I don't think he's better than LeBron or Brunson or Davis. But Mitchell at 16. Wemby at 17 is crazy. Not like crazy wrong, but crazy that he's there.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair. Halliburton, Jimmy. We're not going to get another Celtic for a while, but I'm just going to scroll through, and if you see anything, say it, and I can stop. But Dame at 27, Laurie at 28. Interesting. Maxi's a little low. I think he's better than that. And then you start to get the Celtics 37-38, Derek White, Drew Holiday. Trae Young at okay. No, okay. We don't have to go through the whole list, but Celtics in 37-38. I'm sorry. Brandon Ingram's not better than Trae Young. That's blasphemy. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Derek White at 37, Drew Holiday at 38. Thoughts, Sam? They're just ahead of James Harden, Jalen Williams, Scotty Barnes, and KP, who is sitting at 42.
Well, Derek White definitely took a leap.
Yeah,
definitely way up from. I mean, I don't think it was the Ringer rankings he missed out on. I think it was the NBA overall rankings. But he's somebody that has made quite the name for himself over the course of the last season. He's earned the respect of many. And both him and Holiday proved to be key parts of the Celtics championship run. Like, Holiday was somebody, you just pulled up the averages, like 12.5 points per game in the regular season. Like, it's not really something that's catching your eye, making you turn your head. But then you watch these playoff games and he's making the big steal at the end, or he's making big shots, or he's somebody that they run the offense through. So he can post up or get easy looks at the rim when you need him under control. Like, those two guys are so integral to what the Celtics do. They absolutely deserve to be up here because of the sheer impact that they make. And then, I mean, if you want to talk about Porzingis, he's probably appropriately placed because he's probably going to miss some time.
Yeah, he's definitely going to miss some time. They have it right here, injury concerns. Şengün at 44, Randall at 45. Just scrolling through now, seeing if there's anybody that seems too low.
Draymond seems like he's a little too high.
He's up there. He's going down too. Podcast bro is so funny. Let's see what else we got. Aaron Gordon, Franz Wagner, LaMelo Ball. Like these two, Cade Cunningham and LaMelo, they'll shoot up if they stay healthy.
Correct.
Kobe White, Caruso in there, Herb Jones, CJ.
Caruso's one of those guys that feels like he could end up in the Drew Holiday, Derek White range. Especially next season. I mean, the Ringer hasn't updated it yet, but he's no longer on the Bulls.
Definitely. Devin Vassell seems a bit low. Zach
Miles Turner seems a bit low.
I guess relatively, yeah. Yeah.
Miles Turner's a good player.
Miles Turner's a fine player, but like, I guess maybe
Joey Spatula, wait till you hear about this.
He's not like Miles Turner. Is that the bit? I don't recognize.
No, he likes Miles Turner.
Oh yeah, I think Miles Turner's fine, but like, he's a one-dimensional defender who can quote unquote shoot.
He had a good playoffs.
Don't get me wrong, but and then the last Celtic, Al Horford. Let me find him. I know exactly where he is. Haunted for Al Horford. I'm not going to go through. I wish we had context below of like the first off. Like I wish below here it said like guys who just missed the cut, so we can see like, oh, Horford's listed as better than these players, et cetera, et cetera. As I wait for Sam to return, but Lively ahead of him, fair. Miller, Fair. Some of these are really iffy, but Horford's old. Like you have to take into account next year, like how many games will he play, all that stuff. But happy Horford cracked the list. Excuse me, at the very least. I think he deserves that. It wouldn't surprise me if this was he should be on the list. Let's get him in there. But yeah, 6 Celtics, big time. Shout out Tatum clocking in at number 5, topping that list. And yeah. All right. Anyways, that was top 100. And we can now go to the emails, see what y'all had to say. A reminder, as always, if you'd like to get in touch with us, email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. Share your thoughts, throughout the offseason. We got plenty of time for you guys to help us fill content. I'm going to save draft emails. We're going to read draft emails on the show with Tyler Rucker. So if you don't see, I guess that would have been first, but just know that if we read it there, I'm not going to read it again now. But yeah, okay. Let's check out the emails. What y'all got to say. Again, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We appreciate y'all. First up, Ryan Quentin Post. Another guy bin. The draft we should keep note of is Boston College big man Quentin Post. Over 7 feet, shot 43% from 3-on-3 attempts a game. Quick feet and great burst towards the rim. Wouldn't be a liability on defense. When switch on to quicker guards. Food for thought. Much love, Ryan H, aka UFC Dana White. I'm gonna star it. Keep it in the bin for Mr. Tyler Rucker. Thank you, sir, because I don't know anything about Quentin Post. Next one from Eli. Parade rocked. Some highlights. What's poppin'? Ho, y'all got the chance to enjoy the parade. It was maybe the second biggest one I've ever seen in Boston besides 04 Sox. Highlights of the day for me were watching Sim Hauser yak into a cooler right as their duck boat passed us, seeing one kid climb a light pole and detonate a beer in his head. Photo attached. Jesus Christ. He did, in fact, climb a pole. And when Joe jumped out of the duck boat, ran around yelling and high-fiving people, even if I didn't see it myself. Also, the 08 guys, Pierce, Cassell, Leon, maybe, okay, so it was Cassell on there, had their own duck boat and brought the 08 trophy with them. So sick. Hang it in the fucking Louvre. Love the pod boys. Looking forward to some off-season GeoGuessr. Let's fucking go C's. Eli, absolutely. GeoGuessr will be on the menu. Thank you, Eli. Parade was sick. We agree.
Busy.
Very busy.
Vlog coming tomorrow or later today?
Yeah, it'll be out at some point, probably later today, because we'll have a draft target video again today. I assume we'll figure it out. You'll see the vlog in the if not later today, then the next day, but probably later today as you're listening to this. From Eli, part 2. Also should ask if you guys had any favorite moments. We'd love to hear them. You saw the video this morning. Go watch the video. But favorite moments, Joe, just Joe, any Joe or Luke.
Love Joe.
Just Joe. Shout out Joe. We said that in the video, but Joe Mazzulla is the best. This space for rent. The future's already here, my little Celtics. Familiarity is magic. RJ, afternoon, folks. Now that the parade's over, it's time to look forward. I have a new catchy tag for myself. I don't have a new catchy line tag for my subject line yet, but I'll be patient. Lots of folks think about the, quote, future of the franchise kicking off with free agency in the draft. Absolutely, Brad and the Celtics will use their advantage. CBA willing. But a lot of Celtics futures already in the building. O'Shea Brissett, Xavier Tillman Sr., Jaden Springer, Nemish Queta, Jordan Walsh are all stay-ready guys who are likely spending July through early start of training camp, adding to their toolkits in order to improve and earn more playing opportunities. J.D. Davis and Drew Peterson, Steve Mikhailuk are still in the mix and should be doing the same whether they stay with Boston or pursue career opportunities elsewhere. Even the guys already in Joe Mazzulla's circle of trust, Luke, Peyton, and Sam, going to be hitting the gym. Okay, in Peyton's case, he never leaves it to improve their games because the 6 players in front of them will be facing stresses unique to returning champions. The opportunity for more minutes for bench players early in the coming season will be there for no other reason than to provide the rest for Al, Jalen, and Derek. Heavy usage through June. Drew and Jason, ditto plus Olympics, and Kristaps, so he doesn't rush from his return from surgery. Given how much of the Celtics' success is predicated on movement and sharing responsibilities as a unit on both offense and defense, I don't see any of these free agents being shown the door. I'm hopeful that Cornette, Tillman, and Sfia are re-signed prior to the draft, along with Peterson and Davison being comfortable, being good, comfortable their years on 2-ways. That gives the Celtics one open contract slot, the third 2-way contract. If everyone returns with maybe an open full contract, if one of the free agents goes elsewhere. Red Auerbach always talked about using the draft to add the next piece to improve the Celtics or prepare for the inevitability of aging. I don't know who Boston might acquire in the draft or via free agency, but as I trusted Joe to manage game decisions leading Banner 18, I have confidence in Brad to work roster science to build the launch pad for Banner 19 and beyond. Be well, RJ. Unfortunately, I would bet a lot of money that the roster is not exactly the same next year. They're not going to like, it's not going to be 1 through 18 the same. It's just like,
I think Svi is just going to go play overseas. Just what I think.
I don't think JD Davison's eligible for another 2-way contract. Am I wrong?
He's been in the league for this was his second season as a pro.
How many years can player be on 2-way contract? I don't think you can be on a third 2-way. Let's see. Although 2-way contracts can be for up to 2 years, player who has 3 years NBA experience can't sign such a deal. I guess he can then. That said, I don't know if JD's back.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if JD Davison's back.
Just doesn't feel like they have a need for him. Like, it feels like they brought in Springer to be like that fourth string point guard that is also young and maybe can develop into something that they like.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so he technically could sign another one, but I don't know. Drew Peterson is also maybe. Drew Peterson's also not young necessarily, which is like something else to watch. Yeah, Drew Peterson's okay. That's not the right Drew Peterson.
Or maybe he's 24. I think he's 24.
He's 24, so he's still younger, but he's not like super young. I don't know about. You didn't even mention. Did he mention Keita? He may have mentioned Keita. I don't know about Keita, Tillman, Luke.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if they'll bring all 3 of those guys back. Maybe, but it seems like they could maybe let somebody walk. I don't think we're going to see the exact same roster though. And from what you mentioned, if you say, "Oh, I want Svi, Cornette, and Tillman to get back," even if they're not back, whatever, like that wouldn't even leave room for another signing in the draft. Like you would have to get the roster.
I don't think Svi is going to come back. I think he was very close to not playing in the NBA last season by choice, and only joined the Celtics because it was a tremendous opportunity to win a ring. Which again, like
he did.
He had a great time at the parade. Like he tweeted about it. He said great things about the city, and maybe he does want to stay. But at the same time, like he was really close to like just saying, "I'm going to go home."
Yeah. The only reason I question that is because I know he's close with people on the team. Like I know he's like very friendly with some of the players.
Well, like that could very well have impacted whatever decision. Yeah, I think the good thing about potentially losing fringe guys is you probably have first choice of minimum guys, if that makes sense. Like you're probably going to have significant interest from players that want to join a very competitive team.
I think it just depends on where their headspace at. Like you're not going to join the Celtics if you want to play. So we'll have to see. Next email from Ryan Hall, Enrique Freeman and Quentin Post. Enrique, these are draft people, but I'll read it quickly. Enrique Freeman, where do I start? He's one of the most, one of, if not the best rebounder at or around his sides in the draft, improved from deep, which is right up Boston's alley with how they develop players' 3-point shot, huge motor and very vocal leader, also very physical and strong, great cutter, an older win-now player in Quentin's Post. I think you already mentioned Quentin Post in your
loves Quentin Post.
I likes Quentin Post, which is very important. Quick stops, elite 3-point shooter. Okay, Quentin Post. My only like question with stuff like this is like if he's as good, and I'm not doubting you, Ryan, but if he's as good as you say, like why isn't he a top 10 pick? You know what I'm saying? Like why, if he's a 7-footer who's a good defender who can shoot the 3-ball well, why isn't he a top 10 pick? Okay, he spent 5 years in college. Maybe that's part of it. Like maybe they don't want him, but like I don't know. It's questionable to me. He is an objectively solid 3-point shooter on low volume. Let me see where the Ringer has him. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just don't get why he wouldn't be a higher draft pick. He's ranked 55th in the Ringer's rankings. Minuses, handle tends to get to be a bit loose. Can he expand his standstill shooting ability? He can spot up and pick and pop, but adding some movement shooting. Yeah, I don't hate Quentin Post if like those are the only downsides. He's already 24, but big man who can drain threes, reliable interior defender. Well, we'll ask Tyler Rucker about him. We'll get you some better insight on Quentin Post for you, and Enrique Freeman, who, for what it's worth, the Ringer ranks as not on their list of top 60. So we'll get some answers on those guys. Thank y'all. We appreciate you for the emails.
Oh, yes.
And Michael, you saw us read your email about the draft guys and the Tyler Rucker thing. All right, let's go to the NBA stuff. And we have a trade to discuss, Sam. We talked about this like off camera because we were just on the train a little bit, but the Bulls traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. Straight up, no picks. Thoughts?
The no picks part of this is insane. Now we have deferring like probably trade grades on this, but I agree with you. Like Chicago could have probably gotten more here. Like they gave up a winning player, and Chicago is not in a place where they need winning players right now. Like, I mean, I guess they could be, but at the same time, they're not. Like, no, like you're not going to be a contender next year. Like somebody like Caruso is not living his best basketball life playing with the Bulls. He can really thrive in a defensive 3-point specialist role with the Thunder next year. Like he's going to be a huge asset to them. On the flip side, you do get 21-year-old Josh Giddey, right? Like he's still pretty young. Years and years and years ago, players that are rookies would be this age. So you're getting a guy that has a lot of upside. Like he has size, he can handle the ball, he's a good passer, but still needs to learn how to shoot a little bit and isn't quite the defender that you need him to be. In Chicago, he's going to have more of a green light to learn in have wiggle room. Like with OKC, that team is maybe ahead of where they thought they would be. So there's not going to be as much room. Like they have to have more ready players. The Caruso pickup for them is a W. The Giddey pickup for the Bulls might be a W, but we don't know yet. And the fact that we don't know means they probably should have got more stuff.
Yeah. Listen, according to a recent report, excuse me, from, let's see, Will Gottlieb of CHGO, which is All City Network's Bulls site. The Bulls declined a trade that included multiple draft picks. There was an offer that had a top 10 pick in it, basically, in this year's draft. If they did that and then decided to get Josh Giddey instead, they're morons. They had 2 opportunities in each of the past 2 seasons to trade Caruso for multiple first-round picks. They didn't trade him for that. Morons. Josh Giddey reportedly was going to stay with OKC, but then they said they wanted him to come off the bench next year. He said no. So that presumably means he's going to start in Chicago. Who's better right now, Sam? Kobe White or Josh Giddey?
You might benefit from both. Kobe White is better.
No,
right now, Kobe White's better.
Okay.
He's also older. And he has more experience.
Older. Kobe White is 24, I guess. Yeah. Follow up. Who's better right now? I had assumed we were Josh Giddey.
Probably Josh Giddey.
By how much, though? Because it's a tinier gap than you imagine. My point is, all three of them
Josh Giddey's like I don't really know how to explain this. He's better. He's a little better. He's not like head and shoulders above, but his potential is way better. It feels like the size, I don't know. It just feels like Josh Giddey is somebody that you can play both of those other guys off of. And if he's able to make good passes and draw the defense, which he might not be there yet, but those guys can benefit from that.
My point is, if you had the chance to trade Caruso for multiple first-round picks and or a top 10 pick in the draft, and you ended with Josh Giddey, that's a failure, and you're an embarrassing franchise.
This trade is not the trade you have a problem with. The trades or things you have a problem with is the non-trades, which you are correct.
I also don't think Giddey's like what's his ceiling? Like a LaMelo Ball who can't shoot very well. He's not a great defender. He's big, but if he's not a great defender, what does that benefit? Like his playmaking? What is he gonna be? Luka, but not as good and can't shoot and
Probably.
not Luka. What? It just doesn't make sense to me. Kobe White's better. I think I would assume he was close enough to being better where you should probably it's just they handled this so poorly. The Bulls are a terribly run organization. I think they are an embarrassment. The city should hate the front office. It's not even like me condemning Josh Giddey as a basketball player. I don't think he's amazing, but he's fine. But this is what an unfathomable waste of value. That's my whole thing.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think when this happened, I messaged you. Maybe not you. Maybe it was the Celtics blog Slack. But I was just like, Sixers lose the trade. Really thought he was going to be a Sixer. It felt like Philly was in line to try and go get Caruso and give up something maybe a little bit more valuable than whatever they got.
Why did you think that? Just in theory, or were there reports?
I I had heard that Philly wanted him around the trade deadline. And then I just figured they had cap space now. Like, obviously that doesn't affect trades directly, but like there's a little bit more wiggle room with what you're able to do. Maybe they were going to push and make something happen this summer. I don't know.
Listen, like you look at some of the mock trades that were written for Alex Caruso, almost all better than this. Like this, somebody wrote a trade idea where it was to the Rockets, where they would trade Caruso in 11 for pick 3. Like, I'm not saying that was on the board, but I don't think it's impossible. Like, you look at some of these other top 10 picks, let me see. NBA Draft.net, top 10 picks. Who might have wanted Caruso? Rockets, definitely. They're looking to improve. So maybe you could have found a way to get the 3rd pick, right? Memphis might have wanted him. Like, maybe they want to pair him with John Morant, Desmond Bane, whatever. You get
Where do Caruso's minutes come if he's on the Rockets?
The 2 spot. What do you mean?
So Houston
Burks probably comes off the bench.
Okay, so Houston would now have Fred VanVleet.
Yep.
Josh Green.
Jalen Green.
Finals recency bias, forgive me. Jabari Smith. Şengün, who he's not hurt anymore. He'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
And Caruso's the last guy?
Yeah, it would probably be Fred VanVleet. Yeah, what you said, Jabari Smith and Şengün. Burks off the bench. And then the Bulls, or they also get the 11th pick in the draft, so they still get a lottery guy. Like, okay. I'm not saying that's definitely it, like, but they are the team that probably would make the most sense. And even if you're not getting a top 10 pick, even if you go a little bit outside the lottery, right? Like some of these teams, like the Kings at 13, you couldn't have asked the Thunder. Like, I would have rather had the 12th pick than Josh Giddey. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't think they got good value. I think they wasted an opportunity to get multiple firsts for this and really start cementing their future. And if Josh Giddey's great. Just seems stupid. Just seems bad. He can't, like, he got played off the court in the playoffs for the Thunder because he wasn't good off the ball and they already had a guy with the ball in his hands. If I'm the Bulls, I don't want to take the ball out of Kobe White's hands. So how do you think this can be any different?
I just feel like with Chicago, he's going to have more room. Like, he's not going to be in a situation where it's like you can get played off the floor. It's going to be, we're trying to make the play in, and then we'll see what happens.
My point is, though, if the fit in OKC was bad because he wasn't the guy who got to have the ball in his hands, he's still not the guy who gets to have the ball in his hands. Maybe it'll be more, but I don't want to hurt Kobe White's development for Josh Giddey. That's the disconnect for me. Like, why?
I think they could coexist.
Why?
Because they can both handle the ball. And if Josh Giddey has to handle the ball, Kobe White can catch and shoot. He would be fine.
Yes, but then
it doesn't exactly give you the most of Kobe White, but there are going to be times throughout games, just like with Tatum and Brown, where like one of those guys is on the bench.
But then why didn't that work in OKC?
It feels like OKC just had more talented players. Like Shea and Jalen Williams are both guys I probably would rather have like initiating than him.
It's to a lesser extent, but that's how I feel with Kobe White and Ayodasubu. I just think you're clogging up a backcourt that is the other funny thing is that is literally the only promising part about the Bulls is their backcourt. That's it. That is the only upside, cool, like future thing they have. And they're like, you know what? Another guard. Like, it's just what? It just, I don't know. I think it's dumb, and I think they wasted an opportunity to get good value. Josh Giddey's a fine player. I'm hating Josh Giddey. I think he could be a fine player on the court. It just, I don't see it in Chicago.
I think it's just more of like you have in the back of your head all the things they didn't do, and it makes it worse.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, it makes it worse because they were so stubborn about it.
When I saw this trade, that's just not how I thought of it.
This is the first trade they've made in 3 years. Unbelievable.
It's just funny you've been doing Bulls Wire and they just never made a trade for you.
Yeah, and then I leave. Rats. Next thing, Lakers officially hire JJ Redick to be their head coach. Give him a 4-year deal. Thoughts?
Hooray.
Seemed inevitable, right? Like, it's just like obviously gonna happen.
Just weird. Like, I saw somebody post like his resume versus Sam Cassell's, and like,
yeah,
just weird. Like, the whole thing to me is weird. It doesn't mean he can't be a good coach. He clearly knows what he's talking about, but I feel like there are a lot of former NBA guys that know what they're talking about. And I also think
Yeah.
if you're JJ, this is a really tough job to have as your first job, or any coach.
Definitely is. It definitely is. Absolutely. I think at the same time, though, like you could see how good of a coach JJ could be in theory. And so if you're the Lakers, maybe you want to plan for the future a little bit more and get a younger guy who can sort of grow with the team rather than an older guy who is.
But the Lakers aren't a plan for the future team. Like they never have been.
But they should be, isn't the thing. Like I
They
think
won't be.
like at least in my mind, like I mean, all the reports came out like they want to mix of both. They want somebody who can do both now because they understand
Maybe-
LeBron only has a year or two left.
Thinking about the way the NBA works now, like the Lakers might be forced into having to be a
Yes.
developed team because nobody hits free agency anymore. They can't just take other teams' players, and they don't really have any more draft picks to be like, "Hey, do you want these?" Because they already got rid of
Sure.
almost all of them.
I think they're starting to get some of the draft picks back. Like I think they have a few that they can trade now. Maybe I'm misinformed, but
I mean, it's another year, so
they've got this year's 2024. They have 25. Yeah, they have all their picks except 27. They have all their picks but 27.
they don't have. This is a swap this year. Next year, the Pelicans will have a swap again.
Okay, you're right. Then they have 26, 28, 29, 30. So like they're
Pretty
not
sure the
completely
26 pick is
restricted.
also like not completely theirs
Let me look.
because
Yeah,
everybody was talking about 27 and 29 last trade deadline when they were
Because
talking about moves.
you can't trade 2 in a row. Like it would
I
have
see.
to be, you know what I'm saying?
So they're going to
Yeah.
exactly. Gotcha.
So they have
They can only
Yeah.
trade 27 and 29, probably 30.
they can trade. I think they can probably go out to 31 now after the draft or something too. So my point is it's in the cycle of being refreshed after this Pelicans 25. Like after that, they'll have some flexibility if they want to use it. Anyways, next thing, good. We'll see JJ Redick. Good thing. The Kings have extended Malik Monk. Cool. Good for them. It seems like it was going to happen.
He
I
fits
saw
there.
somebody-
Good for him.
I saw somebody tweet out, good job, Hornets. You let this guy literally say, fuck off.
It's hard to be like it's different when you play in somewhere that's not the Hornets, but like it's Hornets West. It's Hornets West Coast, like the Kings, like them even making the playoffs in 2023 was a huge deal. Like kind of the same vibes between the two franchises. The thing is, Monk played really well for the Kings. It was a huge part of them making that playoff run.
My whole thing is, what's it called? Like Malik Monk would probably be the like perfect fit on this Hornets roster. Like LaMelo, this version of Malik Monk, Brandon Miller, Grant Williams, Mark Williams. Like that's a pretty damn good starting five. Like if you're trying to plan for the future, but tough for the Hornets. Good for the Kings though. Brought him back. Last NBA thing, Jimmy Butler trade rumors. Jimmy Butler could be traded. Howard Beck of the Ringer wrote something. It was like biggest star to be traded, and he wrote plain text: Jimmy Butler will be traded. So he seems to believe it. A lot of stuff floating around. Do you think Jimmy Butler gets traded this summer?
I think it's possible. Like it's not like one of those things where you're like, there's no way that he's going to get traded. They won't even like talk. I think a lot of the stuff we've heard since the Heat got eliminated is not by mistake. It does definitely have to do with him having his contract coming up soon, and they have to reach a new deal if he's going to stick around. And both sides are probably jockeying for position where it's like,
Yeah.
I want more money, and if I'm the Heat, I don't really want to pay him that much money because he's getting old and he doesn't really play a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Pat Riley clearly was not happy with him. Like, that was not by mistake, him going out and trashing Jimmy and giving him a hard time in the press conference. I wouldn't be shocked if he does end up somewhere else. Just kind of feels like Miami. It's kind of unfair to be like, it feels like they're done with this group, but it kind of feels like they're done with at least him as the guy. It feels like you have Hero and Bam now, and
Sure.
It's not like those guys haven't played with Jimmy, but like Jaquez is coming and Jovic is coming. Do you really want to like tie up all your money with Jimmy? Maybe not anymore.
Sure. No, I get it. I get it.
Especially with the East now, right? Like Celtics are the best the Celtics have been. Milwaukee is going to come back with a chip on their shoulder. The Knicks are going to come back confident. Philadelphia might get Paul George. That's 4 teams right off the rip that are probably going to be better than you and would probably beat you in a playoff series. Now, it's very tough to say with Miami. Will we ever learn our lesson? but like I don't
Mhm.
know, doesn't really feel like you're better than those teams. Orlando might be better than them. Cleveland might be better than them. Like it goes on.
Let me ask you this then. So for first of all, this is to me, this rumor screams I'm not going to believe it till I see it. Like I don't think Jimmy Butler's going to leave Miami until he actually leaves Miami. That's just like how I think about it.
Well, he said he
I
wants
don't
to
think
be
he will.
there, and he wants
Exactly.
to be there for a while.
So
for his
this
career.
rumor, I don't necessarily believe this rumor until it happens. Like that's how I'm going to approach it in terms
Okay.
of my like thought process. So I feel like this is going to be an easier exercise moving forward now because the Celtics finally won a title. Take the green glasses off for a second. If you were trying to objectively put Jimmy Butler, like if you had to pick the best fit in terms of they have the means to trade for him and he would be sick in that spot, where would it be objectively? Like in your opinion? I have an answer, but I'm curious.
I'm flipping through in my head.
Yeah.
I just think of like the way it happened in Miami. I'm like, oh, what if he like went to like the Pacers or something or Chicago, like one of those teams. Like Chicago feels like you just go in there and whip everybody's ass. Indiana feels like they could package some pieces together and go get Jimmy and have him make that a dog franchise. What was your team, Jack?
This was my team, the Knicks.
Knicks.
It is the most obvious in my opinion. Like from a has the means to do it. I think this trade makes sense for all the teams involved. And it looks like a lot of firsts, but two of the firsts are 24 and 25 this year. So it's really like two late picks this year, two unprotected and a protected. And one of them would go to the Wizards, who would take on Julius Randle and give up Kyle Kuzma. They would get off Kyle Kuzma's salary a year sooner and get an extra first in this year's draft. The Knicks trade Randall, McBride, and two late firsts plus 2.5 more. Get Jimmy Butler, probably their best chance to compete for a title. So they would roll out Jimmy Butler, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Isaiah Hartenstein, and then Rock.
So Randall does feel like found money to the Knicks.
Yep.
He simply does. Like he feels like a very tradable piece. If they're looking to upgrade their team in any way, he's absolutely going to be on the chopping block. They just made this incredible push at the end of the season without him. Like they still have to re-sign OG. They still have to re-sign Hartenstein.
Yep.
Feels like some of that Jimmy money might dry up.
Maybe. Very possible. But then even if it does dry up, like I don't think the Knicks would be sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing. I meant to get rid of something on my screen. Even if that little bit of money does dry up, I think they could still make it work. I'm not exactly sure because of this whole second apron thing, but I still think there would be a way for it to happen. In terms of fit, like him and Tibbs relationship, his mentality, the Knicks mentality, I just think that makes a ton of sense.
Minnesota.
Outside of New York, not Minnesota.
Was it you that said Clippers?
Sense. I think you said Clippers, and I don't hate it. I just don't know exactly what the deal would be.
If they lose Paul George, it could make sense. Like, who would you rather have in the playoffs, Jimmy or Paul George?
If I'm the Heat, there's nothing I want that the Clippers have outside of Paul George. I'd want Paul George, and he'd be gone.
Yeah, I suppose. We talked about the Pelicans before. It's an interesting one.
I don't hate it, but if I'm the Heat, I'm saying you got to give me Trey Murphy or Herb Jones in the deal, and if not, kick rocks.
Houston would be an interesting one. They're in this weird spot where they just can't decide if they want to compete or not.
I don't think Houston should do it, but if they were seriously interested, I would say, give me one of Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, or Alperen Şengün, and we can work this out. And then I'd be happy as shit if I'm the Heat.
Memphis feels like a team.
Yes and no. Yes for a fit. No in the sense of what are the Heat getting out of it? I'm not trading Ja, Bane, or Jaren if I'm
draft
you know
picks.
what I'm saying? They do have some draft picks. They have the 9th pick, so the Heat
GG
get
Jackson,
that.
you could give up, dangle over there.
GG Jackson, you're right. Actually, yeah. You know what? I don't hate
Marcus
that too.
would probably
GG Jackson.
Unfortunately be in the deal.
I don't hate the Pacers either, but again, what can I do for you? Type of thing.
Did you see they're trying to extend TJ?
Yeah,
Lifetime
obviously,
contract.
good for him. Beast. All right, Ratless time, Sam. Shall we?
Yeah. Ratless, the frat bro Avengers that came into the train yesterday. So we were in the train back to North Station after going to Copley, and the doors were about to close, and this like group of like 12 like frat kids came in. We were in the only section of the train that was packed. Jack and I up against the door. The only train. Annoying, belligerent, fucking screaming.
I thought they were going to
time.
run into those children, the kids that were right next to us. I felt
Yeah, they
bad,
were like kids. They're just screaming at each other.
Mhm.
Ugh, the worst. Worst of the worst.
Yep. I agree. Ratless the train in general. That ride we took from North Station to Copley on the Green Line was hell.
That was
it was far
a
too
bad
fast.
decision.
I hate it.
Looking back.
Yeah, it was cool that we got to see the secondary videos. So honestly, I'm okay with it in the end because I got some nice videos, etc. But Rattles the train. That was not fun. Not a fun time.
I kind of felt like we were gonna get more content out of it, and like ultimately, it felt like it didn't feel like the right place to be interviewing people on the street. Like probably should have did it by the Garden because that's where all the people that would have wanted to be there early would have been. Like once you got away from the Garden, not insulting anyone, specifically Eli, who emailed us a picture of him not near the Garden. But there were a lot more people that just were like, okay, like let's just show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like people at the Garden were getting there at like 7 a.m. Like they weren't playing any games. Like that would have been very good for us to be like, hey, what do you think? Or whatever we were going to do. Vlog's still coming. And we'll do Man on the Street stuff at some point. We have the equipment now.
Definitely in
Might
Vegas.
even be able to do like stand-up stuff. Like with us standing out there in front of the arena or something to do pregame.
Yes. You can do CLNS hits.
Yeah. we now have the ability. So that'd be fun. Rat List. Man. Rat List, like all of the other aspects of yesterday except for the parade. Like just being there after the parade was annoying. There was too many people.
The pre-parade thing was good, but like
no, that's what I mean. Like non-parade stuff. Like just like like too many fucking people in the city. The cell service was bad because there were so many people there. So when we actually went and did all the pre-parade stuff, I didn't even get to post anything from the outside because the service was so bad. And then I think when we were at the second stop of the parade, you guys were all having problems with it too. Right?
Yep, like I had to wait. I just posted a huge thread afterwards, which ended up like people liked it, so it wasn't even the world, but it was just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, my stuff will get up there via the vlog, so it was not all for naught. Like I feel like I did fulfill my obligations by going, but I felt bad because I was like, I'm not even giving the Celtics anything by them admitting me to this. Like I felt bad.
Yeah.
Also, Rat List was the phone because the old phone could not handle just a day of not being on the charger. I was at 4% by the time the shit hit the fan yesterday. Thankfully, the Uber driver had a cord.
That's huge. That is huge. Yeah.
Well, I had to ask for it. It wasn't just out and about. I was like, hey, do you have a cord? And he was like, yeah.
Still.
And then I was plugged into the Apple Play or the CarPlay. So, like, it was my responsibility then to play music. And I was like, I don't really want to do this. I just want to, like, charge my phone and go on Twitter. Like, that's all I want. I didn't want all that responsibility, but I eventually did it.
Tough.
Anti-Rat List the Uber driver for electing to take us home for an hour and 20-minute drive or whatever it was from Whitman.
Yeah, it's brutal. Were you stuck in traffic or was it just a long drive?
Yeah, there was traffic too. Like getting from 495 onto 95 was brutal.
Yeah, that's fucked.
There was an accident on the entry ramp to 95.
Mm-hmm. On the ramp?
Yes.
God, have some courtesy if you're gonna get in an accident, bro. Come on.
I'm always like afraid. Like, I mean, I probably toe the line quite a bit, but that's like one of those things I feel like I'm gonna say it and someone's gonna get really mad.
Nah, I'm joking. People know I'm joking. Rat List my car. I parked my car in the same place I parked for every single game, but I didn't realize, or I should have thought this ahead, and I'm dumb for not. But I thought I could still get out afterwards. But I get there at like 12:30. Say, hey, my car's parked over there. Can I go through? And he goes, no. I'm like, do you know when this is gonna be done? He goes, no. It was just barricaded off. So I had to go sit in a coffee shop till 5 p.m. when my car would be unbarricaded. Which
and
was
you were over it when we went back. Like you were ready to go home when we took the train back.
I was going to
wait another 4.5 hours.
It wasn't as bad because I had my laptop. Thank God I brought my laptop. So I just sat in the coffee shop, did some work, used the Wi-Fi, hung out. But
you would have been welcome to come around with us, but still, like,
I was just
for me as someone who doesn't drink, like, it's like I said, as soon as the parade was done, like I was like, all right, like I was happy to spend time with my friends because I don't really get to do that.
Were they drinking
anymore.
Were they hanging out?
Yeah. One was like belligerent. It was a little funny. Well, it wasn't funny because we were at the train station. He was like trying to talk to like this woman just minding her business, just sitting waiting for the train. It wasn't even like weird. He was just trying to like make conversation. Like he wasn't like crossing any lines or anything. But he was like, she's smart. Like she's wearing Skechers. I'm wearing Skechers. It's like, all right, dude, shut the fuck up.
Leave her alone. Yeah. Anti-Ratless Henry got his license today. Beast.
No shot. Really?
Yeah. I'm proud
How'd
of
they
him.
let that happen?
I'm so happy for him, man. I remember
You're
when I got
happy
mine
for
'cause-
you.
No, it's just in general, like good for him.
You don't have to
Like,
bring him anywhere anymore.
I got mine. Well, he doesn't have a car. I got mine late too, so like it feels good when you finally like get it. So good for him. Shout out.
Wow. I thought he couldn't get his license. Like I thought he wasn't allowed.
No, it's just like hard for him. Like he can't drive at night and stuff, but he can have his license. He just has to be careful, I think. Which obviously, yeah.
Henry's the type of guy that's driving. We rat list him.
Tough.
Rat list the people screaming on the commuter rail yesterday, just on the way back, just drunk, screaming. I suppose I really shouldn't be that mad at drunk people, but because it was the perfect environment to be drunk yesterday, like that's the whole purpose. But again, just I was on the train, sitting there, relaxing, just yelling at each other back and forth. Nice.
It's tough. It's very tough. I don't think I have anything else. I think that was it. Just been hanging out. Parade was fun overall, although everything about it outside of the parade itself was annoying.
Yes.
But yeah. Also, shout out Raising Cane's event, Al Horford. I said this. I don't think I said this on the show yet because we haven't had like an audio pod. Somebody came up to me and said I listened to the show. Shout out Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Oh, shout out.
Beast. He came up to me. He comes up. He goes, "How about them Celtics?" I'm like, "Hello, what's up?" He's like, "I like the show," and so he said he listens on audio platforms. So I didn't want to say it on like a YouTube video because I don't know.
Oh, I see.
It. But if you listen this deep, then we know you like the show. So
I
shout
just
out
saluted
Joe.
him. He couldn't see me salute him. Shout out to Joe.
Exactly. Come say what's up, Joe. Appreciate you. Thank you, my man. That was fun. That's all I got though. You got anything else?
No.
We can wrap there. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube, and follow us on podcast platforms. All the time, take it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. Coming at you with new content, 5 a.m. Pods, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps morning after each game. There's not going to be games for a while. And other videos to keep you busy in between. Again, vlog later today on Sunday. I think it's going to go up. So should be up. If you missed the parade, you can kind of see it through my lens, which, I mean, did you watch it? Or no, not yet.
I skipped through it a little bit. I haven't like hardcore like watched the whole thing yet, but it looks fun. It looks good.
It looks solid. Okay. Just want to make sure. I was a little nervous. I was like, do I even have content for this? I was like, I'll just do voiceover if I have to add context. It went fine. But yeah, Spotify and Apple, like Jack mentioned, we're on audio too. So if you want the pods and game recaps, they'll go right into your feed if you follow us there. A 5-star review, we would appreciate it very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com is the email. Send your thoughts on the Tyler Rucker episode. Send your thoughts on the draft. We still have a couple days before that'll actually happen. Yeah. Even send your rat list. We love that. Socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. Streams are there. They're on YouTube and they're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at Jack's Money. Mine is at Sam LaFrance and it's at France.
Check